order from X06. And I was like, I think I've got this character in my collection already. So I went through my closet, I'm digging through like my big like toy cardboard box with all of my old carded figures from Star Trek that I had. And I have still uh, Major Kira, Deep Space Nine, still in card. I wouldn't call it minty. It's a little bent. But it made me think about six scale and hot toys and all of the things, because one of the things that I always thought was the coolest part of hot toys was that when you got it in hand, you were encouraged to take it out of the box and pose it and display it. And almost every other toy I'd ever collected up to that point that I wanted to retain its value on, I kept it on the card. So I ask you guys, if you had to leave your hot toys in the box, would you still buy them?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Like those vintage ones.
Yep.
Those vintage, I know a lot of people wanted to keep those in box.
So you have to keep it in the box. You could never open it.
Can't open
zero,
it. Have to leave it in the box.
0% chance. That is like 99%
that's what you're buying
of
them
the fun,
for.
if not more.
Okay.
Especially because you can't even see, like, except for like what are those, the retro style ones, you can't even see them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand people that do that. Like, the figure arts collectors, there's some of them that collect the convention exclusives, but they're, like, when you buy them, they ship it in a cardboard box that doesn't even say, like, in English, Dragon Ball. Like, it's just like a cardboard box. Like,
I mean, there's
I
still
don't-
some
I
pretty
don't get
nice
the
art
appeal.
boxes, though, right? I mean, I display some of my art boxes, and I like the look of Hot Toys art boxes. But that's what I'd feel like I was collecting. And we all know collectors out there who have kept their figures in the box. I don't know. What do you think, Marco?
Yeah, 0% chance I would ever do that. These figures are meant to be opened and enjoyed. Now, to each their own, right? Some folks like to hold on to them and think that they may gain value. That feels like a really losing proposition these days. So yeah, I would never ever, buy a hot toy. I couldn't imagine like the Captain America, the Falcon version, or this Carnage that they're kind of pushing the higher end of what these figures cost. To spend that many hundreds of dollars to then keep it in the box just seems criminal to me.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, you could be like Marco, though, and like open that great Captain America and then put him in the back of the shelf. I mean, the worst thing's
He's
gonna happen.
the only person with massive wings. Come on.
He's also the only. Well, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't see the appeal. I don't see the appeal. Like, even there's Marvel Legends collectors that, because the side of the box has artwork on it, they have so many that they tilt them to the side. So it's like you're not even looking at. Like, you might as well collect prints at that point, I feel. Right? Is that just me?
I mean, but still, some parts of collecting is still just knowing that you have it, right? And so I can still see the appeal of having it. As I said, I've got a ton of Next Generation figures and Deep Space Nine figures and old Batman figures that are still on the card, and I've kept them like that for 15 years, 20 years. And now it feels like it would be crazy to take them off. But I still like Hot Toys boxes, so I could see myself displaying it without taking it out, potentially. Depends on the figure. Anything different, TC or Eddie?
I always take figures out of the box except for those retro Star Wars figures. I have two.
Ooh.
I've got R2 and I've got Luke Pilot. And R2 you can see in the box, but I don't know. It's not nostalgic for me because I never had the Kenner stuff. But I just like the fact that you can display a hot toy in the box, because since I started collecting, it's always, take the figure out, enjoy it. That's great. But it's just a different aspect of my display. One or two figures in the box, the rest of them out of the box. Just gives something different.
So do you think those are going to stay in the box for forever? You're not tempted to pull them out?
No, because I have other versions. Like I have Bespin Luke. So to me, that's fine. I might get Mando Luke. I've got enough Lukes out of the box. I'm also a little bit afraid of the pilot suit because it's got so many things going on. So kind of just leave the QC issue out of it. But R2 I can see in the box, so I'll keep it in there.
I guess the good thing about Hot Toys, though, is it is collector-friendly packaging, i.e., like, you could pull it out of the box, and, like, you could, like, when you sell Hot Toys, it's kind of like, when does it go from being sealed to being opened? And I feel like the distinction is when the shipper box tape is cut, even though it is just generic, packing tape or whatever they use for those. but you can always repackage. If you wanted to take it out, display it, and then down the line, you could always do that. Admittedly, you're going to lose a little bit of value from it not being truly sealed, but I don't really know that there's that many people that pay extra for sealed Hot Toys. Maybe, I don't know. Usually it's almost like people want you to open it to inspect it, right? What do you think about that, Ben?
There is a premium though, right? And I think, Ben, you're still on mute, but there's a premium for mint in box Hot Toys, but it's not that much. It's not as much as I expected when I first got into the hobby. What do you think, Ben?
I don't know. I think if I'm buying it from like a Facebook user or secondary, I almost would want them to have it at least open to the point that I could see that the plastic was still on the sculpt and everything. Like there's an element of, like Zach said, you could put that back together up to a certain extent, but I don't know. I don't trust it enough to buy a sealed shipper without at least even seeing the contents. Like that could just be stuffed with a weighted blanket or something crazy. and I've been scammed before, so I don't know.
You should have opened with that.
I've been scammed before.
Wow, we didn't even have the thing set up. What the hell? What are we doing here today?
Off your
Let's
game,
fix
bro.
all of this. I'm up.
Zach,
Well, no,
Zach
there's
was
4 other people
sniffing
here.
glue in the back room.
After dark?
Wow. Well, Eddie, shut up. I'm trying to find the damn thing.
TC's like, why did I come on
What
this
is
show?
happening? What is
am I
happening
doing
today?
here?
Let's just
Fantastic.
roll the intro. Roll the intro.
Are you an angel?
What?
An angel. I heard the deep space pilots talk about them. They're the most beautiful creatures in the universe.
Hello there. We are tonight's entertainment.
We would be honored if you would join us.
He's got a billion toys.
You brought in the doll collection. These are not dolls, Jim. These are commodities. Same as gold or oil.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now listening to the Collecting Weekly podcast.
This is the true form of lore gang right here. Very nice. YouTube.com/collectingweekly. Thank you very much. That's very cool. Big.
Hey guys, my name is Zach.
I'm Marco.
I'm Ben.
I'm Eddie.
And I'm TC.
Welcome to this week's episode of Collecting Weekly. It's a weekly podcast where my friends and I talk about the things that matter the most to us this week in collecting.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone watching live or on the replay tonight.
Wow, you really boned that one in,
Incredibly
Marco.
out of
You know, I forgot that I had to do it. We are feeling the lack of Dean in here, but we're gonna make do.
Jesus, Marco.
That's a
We got
big
Greg
bean-sized hole.
in the chat, 99-cent super sticker. Let's check in with who we got today. We got Sam Gist, we got Lane Kramer, Punisher XS, Brian Fontaine. Supposedly, I'm told that TC is saying there may be a collab in the works. I'm very excited about that. Baby Boy 562, it's been a minute. Excited to tune back into the Ben Thomas Show. Toy Mafia, Carlitos, Sam Gist, Thor Gaming, 16fix, Badfish, Absolute Irwin, Mark Pearson, Alvin J, Tukatri, Sean Forrester, Lane, The Legend, Kramer. We got Baby Girl 707. Shout out to the baby family in the chat. Let's see here. Ninja Squirrel 30, Jose G Hernandez, DJ. Greg keeps posting that. We also have Alvin J. Can you read that for me, Mark?
Yeah, so Alvin Jane is saying, what if you're forced to give up your spaces due to family and or friends needing a place to stay? Would you still buy new stuff, knowing you won't regain your space for another couple of years? So I guess Alvin's maybe saying, buy something, keep it in the box, and then for a future collection setup, once you've, cleared out those friends or family. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's a good question. I think if you could afford a storage unit of some sort, then that's always an option. If that wasn't on the table, then I would say hold off collecting for a little while. Save yourself the space. The cool thing about collecting is shit keeps coming back, the stuff that we've seen in the past. And there's a lot of really cool stuff to look forward to. A lot of great content that's going to come. Collectibles will always be there for us. It just depends on what generation of them you want or need to have in your collection.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. No, I'm being dead serious. That was good. I struggle with it. I struggle with FOMO every once in a while, and I'm worried like, oh, it's never going to come out again. And sure enough,
you definitely shouldn't be. Go ahead, Zach. Sorry, I cut you off. Yeah, you shouldn't definitely be collecting for the space you may have. I know that's an issue that I've run into a few times, and then by the time you go to display everything, you're like, oh, I'm out of space again, or they've got a reissue, like Ben said. There's these collection, cycles are always so cyclical. So I would say be disciplined and don't collect for that space you may have one day.
There you go. We got Commander Gree in the chat. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm still under the weather, so I'm going to be in and out today. Chris V, Christron, Baptist says hashtag Jurassic World Life. Abe Dunk TV with a super chat. Wine and dine, my boy Zach had lots of fun. Marco, we have a very special segment that we kick off all the best shows with.
Yeah, you guys ready?
Yes.
It's new this week.
All right,
So
what
did
do we
y'all
get
new
this week? Oh,
my
bad. You did so. Okay, actually, Marco did so good on that one. I like the energy.
Double the fun.
I'm trying
Very
to put my own spin on it. You cannot.
I'm giving a bonus point right here because he
hell yeah.
killed it, baby.
Little dingleberry for Marco there. All right.
There we
He
go.
skipped the yeah.
You
if
can't
he would have
copy
done
Dean,
he
man.
would have gotten 2 bonus
Yeah,
points. But
exactly.
we actually have. I have an idea because last show my idea was so terrible that I was roasted in the group for the hot seat idea. So like I'm gonna take it one step further and do something even stupider. So we have some fun stuff tonight. But Marco, what'd you get to this?
Yeah, so I got this Mars Toys prank villain, aka the Joker, the 66 Joker. One that I initially didn't plan on getting. When it came out, it looked terrific. They did a second run on 1/6 kit, and so I was like, you know what? It looks too dang good. It's like one of those transcendent figures that we talk about, where maybe I don't have the extreme love for the property, but it just is such a beautiful 1/6 figure. Wanted to pick it up. There's been a lot of reports of issues with the second batch, and so I can report that I had some of those issues. So the vest it came kind of busted apart a bit. At first I thought it was ripped, but after messaging with Kit, there's basically double-sided tape. You can kind of rearrange the vest to push the magnets back in, and so I was able to futz it so it looks okay, or it looks good. And then the body is a little suspect, so it doesn't necessarily. It's standing, no problem at all, but I'm a little bit afraid of the longevity of the body. So those are two really, pretty major complaints. Obviously, they have said that you can buy a replacement kit for the vest, and I think the shirt as well on 1/6 kit. And
We'll get to
that.
$10
for the shipping on that. So go ahead and read this one if you want.
Yeah, so Sam says, are you going to address Dean not being here? Please give me some comfort and tell me Dean's not on the outs. I think that all good things come to an end, and
Oh my God.
just kidding. No, we mentioned it last week. He's God, Ben didn't laugh. That would have been the perfect. I was getting all my acting chops out. No,
oh, poor Dean.
So, the official that he's told me to say is he's been nursing an injury, and he will be back soon. And that's all the information I've been permitted to share with you guys. He's not dead or dying. I think Fern had said he died. I got a bunch of very concerned messages. He is very much amongst the living. However, with his injury, it's just a bit uncomfortable for him to be sitting up, and so he's going to be out this week, maybe next week. I don't know. But he is probably in the chat. So Dean, if you're in the chat, I asked him to post a message yesterday, but I don't think he got to it. But he'll be back as soon as he can, and he misses you guys more than you miss him.
If Dean's super high on painkillers, I can't wait to see whatever kind of message he leaves people in the chat. Don't take anything he says seriously if you see a message from Dean.
Yeah, there you go.
Love
there
Dean.
You go.
It does feel like he's dead, though, hearing his voice in the New This Week thing, and then he's not
Jesus.
here. Hurts my soul. I miss him, that's all.
R.I.P.
There you go. F.
Okay,
Wellington is Dean the voice and the master predictor. There you go. Speedy
the master
recovery to
predictor.
Dean. How dare you, Sean? Did Dean break his back from carrying the show? How fucking dare you? This is actually his last episode. Eddie, what did you get?
So it's been a while since I've gotten anything, but today I got in a Hercules print that is a G-Clay. I don't know the difference between art prints and G-Clays, so sorry for any print people out there, but This was limited to 100 pieces. It was dropped like a couple months ago, and I finally got shipping on it. And there was 2 variants. There was an acrylic panel variant that was like limited to 30, but I didn't need that. I was cool with the regular. It was like half the price, and so I got that in today. I haven't pulled it out of the tube yet or anything, so that's why I just went with the pick off the website. But I slowed way down on prints, and this is like one of my favorite movies of all time, so I had to get Hercules, one of my favorite characters of all time. So
wow,
yeah, it was pretty cool.
How do you store those? Or do you
I recently bought a portfolio. So this is 24 by 36, so I bought a 24 by 36 portfolio that I finally started putting all my prints in, because before that everything was in tubes for years. So now I'm finally able to keep them flat and in decent condition.
You know, Eddie, if you keep up the way that you're going, you might have a shot at being the live action actor for Hercules. They just casted a Latin Snow White. So, I mean, I think you might be prime cut, to be honest.
Oh, damn. Okay.
From 0 to hero, just like that.
From 0 to 0.
Wow.
Probably like the first half of the movie, but just kidding. So, what's the size on this print?
24 by 36. That's
this
like
is clean.
I mainly only get 24 by 36 these days. So
here we go. Geekly fine art prints are extremely high quality archival grade digital prints that use an ultrafine inkjet printing process to produce image of intense color and vibrancy. That sounds like what my printer said on the back of the box.
Wow.
That's what my Canon printer said, bro.
What the
fuck, bro?
The 24 by 36.
Shouldn't all prints have color and ultra detail? Sorry, TC.
Oh yeah, I was going to say the 24 by 36 prints, even though they take up a ton of space on the wall, dude, they're just beautiful prints.
Yeah, dude, they're really nice, and they're pretty fucking huge. Like, they're not as big as movie poster prints, but they're pretty good size. Like, it's hard just to keep the portfolio stored, like, to find a space to be able to lay it flat like that.
Have you gotten any of that size framed? Because that's what scares me. I'd want it framed, and it's like that's a whole other cost.
I have not yet. I know it's expensive, and I'll probably get some frames soon. Like, I've been wanting to do that, but that's why I got the portfolio, just so I could at least have them stored good and like be able to look at them when I want to. But I have yet to get any of that done yet.
Wow! Congratulations, Eddie.
Thank you.
TC, what did you get?
I got these guys, the Back to the Future 3 figures. So, pretty cool. I mean, the Marty's great. The Doc, the head sculpt, you know, it's not their best, but I love the outfits of these guys. There's just some really cool suits. Got the Western vibe. The fact that you can't take off the hat is a little disappointing, but you know, other than that, no real complaints. I just like Back to the Future figures. I think they're just classy, and yeah, happy to add them. Just really quality work by Hot Toys on the tailoring.
If the new or the third version of the DeLorean came out, would you consider that?
Yeah, I would consider that one, the white wall tire version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I would.
Pretty cool.
I don't know. It's you know what? The thing is, I don't have a ton of space in my office. This is pretty much my whole display. I could give a tour one time, but I could really only get one vehicle. So if it's the vehicle, it's either DeLorean from the third movie, or it's the Batmobile from a Robert Pattinson film. So I don't know. I think right now there's only one version of the Batmobile that you can buy. I'm hoping InArt makes one or Hot Toys, but it would be close. I'd have to decide. I'd have to decide over like the course of a year. But,
what's your favorite of the 3 DeLoreans?
I like the third one.
Third one,
yeah.
Cool.
I just because I like the white wall tires.
Yeah, it's a great look.
TC's a classic guy.
Cool. Good pickup, buddy. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Look at you. That's how me and Marco are going to dress to OxCon, actually.
Yeah, that's right. And with the hoverboard too, that's such a great touch. Like that makes me want the figure by itself.
Oh yeah,
was
very
that
cool accessories.
packed in?
It was.
This
yeah.
one?
Yeah, it was.
Look at that. I should do my homework. So I picked up on my lunch the Spider Armor Mark 1 Marvel Legends. It is okay. It's not great. It doesn't have, I think, the articulation that a spider character needs to have, and it also, they added web effects instead of extra hands, which I always hate that they do that. but it is going to look nice on the shelf. The paint is really metallic. It does look, I think, pretty decent. So very excited to have this in the collection. And now the spider collection grows one more. I think at some point I'm going to need to go to like a 36-inch shelf instead of a 24. Even with the risers that I have, the little 1, 2, 3-inch hex risers, pretty much out of space. So very excited to have this collection. I've been looking at it for about a year, and I finally found someone that had it for retail. So really excited to have picked that up.
Are the proportions a bit odd on this one? Because it kind of looks like a Nino wearing a Halloween costume. Does it look like that in hand?
A little bit. Like I said, it doesn't have the butterfly joints. And the legs also articulate a bit awkwardly, so he can't really get into any... I'm sure you could pose it in a cool pose, but I was finding difficulties like doing like a crouching pose or doing like, like a very dynamic spider pose. And to be fair, like I don't know a lot about this armor. I really just wanted it to kind of start completing like the retro spider set. But yeah, this is, I like it. It's just not like, I don't even really think that he could pose like the pose on the box, like that crouch down. So I don't know. It's just an okay figure. If it wasn't $20, I would not have picked it up. If it was $25, there's no way.
Do you repaint any of these line of figures, or do you usually just keep them kind of just out of box? I know you did that with your Bad Batch figures, and that elevated those like crazy.
So with the Bad Batch, they're very realistic sculpted. And so I was basically just adding weathering to make them look a little bit more realistic. With this one, I do like the comic/animated style that they have. So I haven't repainted. I did repaint like one half of a face to be the black Spider-Man mask, which I talked on After Dark about. But no, generally speaking, I don't repaint them. Just one, because I don't think that they need it. Two, when you articulate it, the paint, like especially with like the butterfly joints, it'll get like rubbed off. And three, paint is really hard to match to like casted plastic. The texture and the tone and like the opacity is just different. It just really bothers me. So I don't do it too often, but like if I had like the live action stuff, I did do some repainting on that, like adding the panel lines or doing a little bit more detail or weathering. I have done that in the past, but these ones, they're comic style / animated style, so I don't typically do that. And Richard Garcia says, I remember that suit, the good old extreme 90s. Let's do a quick update here. So the predictions, still nothing really but Dean's 3 choices. We'll see a bit later.
I would argue that you and I both got a point here, though, right? Because we got Iron Man, which is the character. We just haven't received that specific version of the Iron Man.
Which Iron Man do we get?
So
rainbow
we'll talk
one?
about it, right? There you go. No, the
I was like, wow.
The comic inspired one.
No, there's a rainbow one.
I think it was.
I'm not joking.
I think
it was a joke.
Oh, that was a fake?
Yeah,
yeah, he was messing with people.
Bitch
He got me
ass.
too. I immediately went looking for it.
That looks sick. Wow, I'm upset now.
Wow. Dang.
It's
got like my.
I look forward to it.
We'll
I called it the
do
Sprinkle Iron Man.
We'll need to review the tape, because I do think that we had picked a armor. Yeah, because Seyful's right. Like, is Dean right for getting 2 random blue Mandos? I don't know. I got to check the tape on that one. But Dean is still with 3. 166 at this point with 0 or 1. Ben with 0 and Eddie with 0. But there is a rumor mill, and I think we'd get some points from that if any of these rumors hold true. The rumors are Kamen Rider Black Sun and Shadow Moon, John Wick Chapter 4, Iron Man Mark II diecast remake, Iron Man Mark 42 diecast remake, which is what I had guessed, Mark 47 remake, which is what Marco had guessed.
Mark 47.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Adam Warlock and Drax. Star Wars DC The Flash second suit, which I believe is what Eddie would get. 1/6 Prey, and then a quarter scale Iron Man Mark II or 6. These are for the Comic-Con on July 28th, which is ACGHK overseas. So it seems like, let's see, there's a potential point for me. Dean would still have 3. Marco would have a point there. Ben would have a point, and Eddie would have a point as well. So we'll see if any of these actually come to fruition. Do you guys want to talk on any of these rumors real quick before we move on?
Well, we have already seen the Drax now, right, on the Sideshow Con.
Yeah,
so they teased that, and we'll get to
And
that.
I will say
later.
Hot Toys put out a post that they have the Prey license, so this is kind of starting to add up for sure. So where there's smoke, there may be fire, honestly.
I'm hoping for that John Wick. Not even just for the point. I actually want the figure.
I do too.
You know,
So,
I'd love to
I
see
feel
a
like-
42
yeah.
remake, because that
That would
figure has
be
always
sweet.
been, it was, I think the first one was made in like 2015 or something,
It's a bad figure.
and they never fixed it. So it deserves
Yeah.
a remake.
Such a
And
cool
that was-
design. Is that Age of Ultron?
Iron Man 3.
The 43 was Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
42 is the one with all the pieces.
The Prodigal Son, the gold one.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Okay, that's an incredible armor.
And that was exactly my argument, which was TC is saying. It's like the 42 was released a long time ago. I want to say it was the second die-cast figure, I believe after the Iron Patriot. And it just doesn't have the modern articulation, the modern, the way the batteries are incorporated. So I think that would be prime for a remake. And then Marco would guess the Mark 47, which, Mark 46, Mark 47... It's a mold that they've been playing around with lately, but
Yeah, what
definitely all
would they
good
do with
guesses.
47? It would have to be like a neon tech
Holographic.
or holographic.
Yeah,
It'd
exactly.
have to be.
I read it's like
Yeah.
the open version.
Oh, there you go. That's actually a great point, TC.
Yeah.
Yeah, the suit up version or whatever.
That would be pretty
Well, it makes sense because in the movie he does sort of like pop out of the suit, right? Like it all
Yeah.
opens and he can just walk in and out of it. So
If they added a Tony Stark with that, now I would be very interested. I would pick up another one for sure.
same.
TX Boy is saying CW are going to be some of the best displays out there, in my opinion, overtaking a ton of other collectors. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome to hear.
Hell yeah, baby.
Also, the most random one on here is just Star Wars. I'm very intrigued by what that.
yeah, I
would be,
couldn't
but-
Very
translate.
broad.
I couldn't translate those characters. I tried a few times and Google wasn't spitting anything out. So maybe I just had some wrong settings, but I'm also ignorant, so I don't know what that language is.
That you are.
Hot Toys, Appo with BARC, and then also the BARC Heavy Trooper were released. I think the weathering on these looks fantastic, which of course it does. I still feel like Appo isn't really Appo. It just seems like a generic clone officer. Especially in the comics and in the books and in the movies, it just doesn't really match up with what we've seen. However, obviously Hot Toys got it pushed through with that name, so, I guess that's Appo. That's what he looks like now. But I think it looks excellent. I think you got two different options. I think Lane said he had this one coming, so we may have it unboxing soon. But I like the look of these. I think... I certainly think that they're going to go well with people's collections, and excited to see collectors start to get these and unbox them. And I completely agree with Sean Forster. Appo needs a head sculpt. But Marco, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think this set is completely fine, right? Like these speeders are fine. They look nice, right? The trooper designs are completely fine. And I'm just going to keep saying the word fine, but I want to more respond to the FOMO that I'm seeing going on, right? So like for a release that doesn't do much for me, I think we're kind of starting to turn this corner from everyone was like, oh, let's like wait. And then now the panic buying and like, okay, I can't find it anywhere. That's been happening with, I know Cad Bane in this release and a few others. So I think it would be one that would sit around. Like let's say the Hot Toys had produced their normal amount, it would be around for forever. But because there's that scarcity there, it seems people are losing their mind a little bit. So I think we just all have to ask ourselves, like, is this something that truly would fit your collection that you have space for? Or are we just chasing it because there's that FOMO out there? And I think it's kind of hard to parse out because it is exciting. And I think this model that they're going after now is positive and it's kind of reinvigorating a lot of the market. But there's just so much coming out that, yeah, there's no way that like people are saying, oh, this is going to be like a chase. It's going to be double retail, maybe. But there's just like, it's still so oversaturated that I'm very skeptical about that rhetoric. So yeah, overall, like it fine releases, but it's just doesn't live up to the hype in my opinion.
That's fair. I mean, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Let me just tear up that for 1 second. I did see some posts that people have been making with the current market prices for a lot of these figures. Typically in the past, you'd been able to get those bargain bin deals. Like Dino always says, like, I got a brand new rocket for $80. Like, you could typically score some sweet figures. But I think, like Marco always says, a lot of collectors didn't really know what the game was, right? Like, are we still able to pre-order, or rather to wait on our pre-order, have it come out, maybe snatch it for a deal? Seems like the production numbers on these may be a little bit lower. The demand is much higher than the supply at the moment for these overseas, and so you're starting to see prices go up quite a bit. So we could be very much in that era where you have to make decisions very fast. You have to pre-order without that full information. So sorry, Ben, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there, but I completely agree with what Marcos.
No, I think those are great points. And I was going to say, I'm going to keep my points relatively brief. I am not a huge Clone Wars fan yet. I'm still just getting through the end. I just finished the end of season 2. I just started season 3. People tell me it gets better after season 4. So I'm like, I'm almost there. I have a hard time telling these troopers apart after this many releases. I'm not going to lie. When you were saying this isn't Appo in your mind, I Googled Appo just to see what he looked like in the cartoon or in the animated series. Is it always missing the downward shaped arrow on the front of his helmet? Like, tell me the differences if you can.
Yeah, so a little bit of it is like, I think it's like that classic George Lucas thing where it's like, oh, actually that character is that character. So if you remember in episode 3, this stormtrooper or clone trooper rather, let's see, when Bail Organa is trying to get into the temple and one of the clone troopers is like, nah, bro, it's time to go. That is allegedly Appo. In the Clone Wars cartoon, he does have this arrow. And a lot of the figures that have come out for him do have that arrow, and so a lot of people attribute that because Appo was inspired by Appa from The Last Airbender, the character name and design, and so that arrow is very synonymous with the inspiration and thus the clone.
Seems like a huge miss, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people have some different artwork that shows that he may have at some point kind of switched over to the more Hot Toy style, which is here. But I think for collectors, myself included, like the iconic Appo look is with the arrow, and in the books, some of the they used to be canon. They're not technically canon anymore, but Appo was Darth Vader's 501st commander, right? So like Cody was for Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, and Appo was for Anakin.
It's a weird omission, though, in terms of the arrow, unless they plan on giving us another version with the arrow, so you have to double dip. That's the only reason I could see they would do it.
Oh, that would piss me off. I don't know. They better not do that. Seyful says season 3 and 4.
I don't think he's that big of a character that they would do it.
But his phase 1 and phase... That'd be rough.
His phase 1 and phase 2 armors do have the arrow, but...
Send it to Zach's Wonderland for repainting. Zayful says season 3 and 4 are pretty good too, Ben. Hopefully you get to enjoy it. Samgia says, do you roll it a favor and stop watching? That nails this for me. Objectively, these are still really cool figures. The vehicle is awesome. The 6CL vehicle makes the figures look a little on the smaller side, so you can see just how big that would be in your collection. It's a lot to commit to. But if you are the collector, who loves Clone Wars series, this is pretty badass. So I might have to do what Sam is recommending and stop watching before I get a nostalgia punch in the chest at some point. Because if I like it, I always have that desire to buy it. If I can avoid it, sometimes that's okay. But you still got to appreciate the content that's out there and not collect everything if you can avoid it. What about you, TC? What do you think of this release?
I mean, the release is awesome. I don't buy clones because it's just another thing. If I bought clones, I'd be buying way too much stuff. So I don't buy clones, but I mean, the weathering looks great, like Zach said. I love over the years how Hot Toys has always improved their clones, and this is no different. This just looks great, but I just would caution people, like, it might be hot right now, but there's almost always stock in the years after. I mean, I know it's a new model now, but like, I can go on, I say this often, Pop Culture has them in stock. You can probably find them at local comic stores. I don't know, if you're on the fence or you're having FOMO, I'd maybe just take a step back, wait it out, and see. Because at the end of the day, it is a vehicle, so it is more expensive, and usually there's, straggler pieces at smaller shops. And I don't know, just my thought. But as far as the quality, man, it looks good.
Like, all good points, TC, because I agree with you, even just in terms of like the 1/12 size vehicles. Like, I've got the McFarlane Bat Bike here from the Batman film,
Nice.
just on the desk. But I've had a hard time finding a place in the collection room for this scale, let alone 6-scale vehicles. So again, like, it would have to be the vehicle that I absolutely need, kind of like you were saying with the DeLorean or the Batmobile there earlier, because otherwise it's so hard to justify the space.
Yeah, I mean, and also, like, the one negative on these speeders is, so I've heard, I've never had them in my hand, is that the handles are flimsy. It does look like there's some loose plastic pieces potentially that could, be problematic, but, that's just one little slight negative. But yeah, I think it looks great.
I think it looks cool. I like the sidecar. I didn't realize you'd be able to do so much with it. It's like super articulated. There's a lot of articulation on the speeder itself too, with the fins being able to move, the turret gun in the front, and yeah, you can. The way it attaches to the sidecar is cool, and then I love clones and I love Clone Wars, so that's really cool. I think it'll be sought after just because I feel like Star Wars fans really want vehicles, and this is a vehicle that we've never had before. All the other vehicles we've had in different versions or different paint jobs. This is new, so that was cool, and I think that it will pair really well with the ATST that's coming out, so that's really cool. And clones are hot. Like, people are building big clone displays right now, so it's some of my favorite Hot Toys. I love clones. I wish I could have a big clone display, but with how expensive the figures are now, and like, I want other main characters, it's kind of hard for me to just get a big clone display, but I think it's really cool. So yeah.
Eddie, obviously this is being produced in much lower numbers, but those speeder bikes never really took off, right? Like, people were blowing them out, selling them for half off, both retailers and people, just trying to get rid of them. So I think, just that space consideration, like the other guys said, could just play a big factor. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe because of the clone and, Star Wars factor, it could become a chase, but I don't know. People are losing their mind.
So TX Boy 210 also says here a really good point, I think. He says that I think most fans are upset because they want the clones, but they're locked behind the paywall for the speeders. So if you want all clones that are available,
Completely agree.
then you have to buy this. That does make it slightly more collectible in that sense, I suppose, but it is a bit of a piss off if you don't want to commit to this kind of size of set for a full out collection.
Just sell the speeder.
I mean,
I'm sure people want the speeder that don't want the clone.
That is a good point, though, because clones are always, everyone loves clones. They're super collectible. So this could buck the trend because it's tied to a clone, and you're not gonna sell your clone without the speeder. So if you got the clone in your collection, you've got the speeders. Just kind of works in tandem.
How much different is the clone to like pieces that you could get with Rex or just a 501st Trooper? He has Rex's pauldron thing. It's a 501st Trooper helmet. I don't know how different the armor is.
Yeah, you get the ammo pouches with the strap. I think the pauldron may be a little different. I think Rex has the double pauldron. I could be wrong though. With the other one, this one has like the Captain Vaughn / Captain Cody helmet visor thing, and then the sort of mohawk thing, and then the paint is different. I do think it's pretty lame to lock a character like Appo behind this paywall. I said that when this was first solicited, but like Eddie said, this is going to be a sweet display with the I'm sorry, what is it? The AT
ST?
ST?
I thought it was
clone
ST.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little clone walker, which were solicited around the same time, so that one is likely right around the corner. You're going to see a lot of really nice clone displays here coming soon, so really excited to see these starting to pop up in people's collections. And like I said, we may have one to unbox with Lane on unboxing at some point in the future. Hot Toys did release the classic Loki figure. I think this is one of Hot Toys' better expressive portraits. And I do really like this figure. I like the different textures, which I think Hot Toys always balances really well. You got the like the pleather of the neck collar. You got that sort of pleather of the strip down the middle, matched with the green fabric. I really do like the look of this, and I think the serious portrait or the non-smiling portrait, I think is also extremely well done. This looks good. I'm not personally interested in this, but I gotta say, I think that they've done quite well with this, and you do get a lot of cool little additions to this figure. So definitely, like Tremble says here, would be good to see a in-hand comparison of So Toys Classic Loki with this figure to really see which company has done it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Loki show, and this character was a standout. A really incredible contribution to the show, I would say. And obviously, I forget the actor's name, but, really...
Richard E. Grant.
There we go. All right. So, just a classic actor. So this is nice that they ended up doing this. It felt like their hand maybe was forced. We don't know all the variables in terms of the licensing and what Disney dictates and Marvel dictates versus what Hot Toys wants to do, but it definitely felt by So doing their version of this that forced Hot Toys to kind of push one out. I think that there's just too much stuff coming. Push one out, all right. There's just too much stuff coming out, though, right?
Like bust one out.
For someone who enjoyed the show, who ended up getting that, TVA Loki, this would pair nicely with that. But there's just an oversaturation right now. I cannot be bothered to go pick up yet another Loki that's not even a mainline version of the character. So cool that they did it for anyone that wants it, but still feels very, very niche.
I'm so torn on this. I honestly thought Hot Toys wasn't going to give us this. I thought it was one that they would kind of solicit just to try and throw the competition off, and then we would never get it down the line. And the fact that they've given it to us and it's actually like this good, I'm like, damn. I've seen pictures of the in-hand So Toys version, and that one I thought was beautiful. Really well done. This one is just as good, in my opinion. I would like to see them side by side. I think that would be a really cool comparison, just to look at material types and some of the paint apps on the skin. But I think if you got either one, it's a happy day for collectors if this is the kind of suit version you're looking for a Loki. The Kermit the Frog collar and like the yellow and the green, so classic. I think it's awesome. I think paired up in a Loki collection, even though I would have said at one point this would be lower, kind of like on a tier list of things that I would want. Now that I'm seeing more people have it in their collections and just seeing how it pairs with other figures, I think it could be pretty cool. And Richard E. Grant is a badass. He's been around forever. It's cool to have an actor representation like him in the collection as well. And I also think that the faceplates for this figure are a game changer style of accessory. I think it's so good that not only are they like seamless in the way that they clearly swap out, which I think is beautiful, but I think it looks exactly like the actor. So bravo, Hot Toys. I'm stoked on this. This has got me looking at both versions and honestly just pricing out which one makes most sense affordability wise for the collection, because I think they're both bangers.
You know how this one would have been a no-brainer if they would have done the Vision and Wanda, the Halloween costumes? Like, this would have paired so nicely with that. Yes. So, missed opportunity.
Very good point.
Well,
one other thing
timing, you never know, might come out in the future.
You're right. 100%. You never know.
One other thing that I meant to say was only that it's interesting to me that Loki has gotten such love from Hot Toys, but we haven't even seen Hawkeye from Hawkeye yet. What the hell is going on?
What a random freaking company, bro.
You run your leg over with a snowplow and that's it.
Wow. Don't even get your hot toy. That's it.
Oh, man.
What about you, TC?
I mean, the only bad thing about this one, I'm not a fan of the pleather. I can tell like immediately. Oh yeah, like that's pleather on the belt. It just to me doesn't look of the highest quality. But other than that, I mean, the sculpt's amazing. So I think it's just it's a unique figure. So I think if you're a Loki collector, for sure pick it up. But I just wish Hot Toys would start being more consistent in getting away from the pleather, because I feel you can almost do it like a synthetic soft plastic almost. Maybe that's not as nice looking. I don't know. Maybe they tried it out, but yeah, only negative. Other than that, I mean, sweet. accessories, cool light up, what is that, fire effects on his hands. Cool
The
stuff.
green fire.
Yep.
Wow.
I didn't care for this show. Figure looks good, but I could care less.
God damn it, Eddie. Prey by Hot Toys. So this is just a tease. We don't have anything actually formally shown, but I'm going to let you guys discuss. I'm going to throw out some bonus points as we go. This is our hot seat for today. The question that I want you guys to discuss is, would this line be successful without Naru, the main female lead of the film?
100%.
Or do we think Hot Toys is going to just do the tracker predator from this movie? You guys discuss, I'll throw out some bonus points.
I think people could care less if they do anything other than the Predator.
That's all they're going to give us, right? I think that they should do Naru, but I do think that the line will be popular if they just give us a Predator, which is exactly what they're going to do. It's unfortunate. Ben, you're on mute. That's minus 8 points right there. You were going on for a while.
I was so good. The film is called Predator, not Prey.
Well, it's called
not
Prey.
Predator.
Wow, another negative point.
My point is off. The film is called Prey. We should have her, not the Predator. We've seen the Predator before, and not that version. But I think you need. Never.
We need them both.
Okay.
You need both.
TC, what are we thinking here?
I mean, I'm not thinking about anything. This is where I fail, where Dean would be so successful. I've never seen this movie, so I can't answer. I guess that's a negative point for me.
Gotta watch
TC, you got to watch this film though. It is terrific, honestly.
Okay. Now,
That's really good.
This is part of Is this part of Aliens vs. Predator?
Yeah. So this is a. I don't want to say it's a prequel, but it kind of is. This is sort of set like 200 years before Predator 1. And in this film, a tracker predator is hunting down... I don't want to be insensitive here. Let's see. I don't know what the tribe... I think it's Comanche. But it's set, sort of in that sort of...
Right.
Comanche, there you go.
Yeah.
It's set... I believe it's in the 17th century. But it features, the different hunters of the Comanche dealing with this threat, and they use their great hunting abilities, and it's a fantastic movie. The little dog is so cute. Naru is such a badass female lead, and to me, I think a line without both, destined to fail. I think you really need both. I think so.
I think people say they want that, but they would not buy her. That's one of those things with fickle hot toy collectors is like, yeah, we want that, but no one would put their money where their mouth is. Maybe a few.
I think you're right, Eddie. I think you're right, but I would actually get her. She was
I would
so
definitely
badass.
get her. I think she was awesome. She was my favorite part of the film, even
I just
though
want
the Predator was a badass. I was just going to say that. Shout out to Layal, because I was listening to him today as well, and he mentioned the wording at the bottom says Hot Toys 1/6 scale collectible coming soon, not collectibles. So that, I mean, unless they just kind of just threw that out there without thinking about it, it does kind of connote that it could be a singular release, not necessarily.
I do have something for that though.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it? Yes.
Great.
It could just be a translation issue.
Of course, that's attached to my point, Dave, to see it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if all you get is the dog, though, or like her brother or something? Like Hot Toys doesn't make sense with their decision a lot of the time. So I can
What are you saying, TC?
I was going to say, why do you think they announced this license right now? Do you think it's in response to not necessarily in art, but just the fact that, well, maybe they need to diversify a bit versus the same, Star Wars, Marvel lines?
Their license time frame is so random. Like Ben said, you don't have Hawkeye from the Hawkeye show. We have like 17 Lokis from like 1 minute of in-game and then 6 episodes.
They are doing a bunch of weird things like that we've seen that we're going to discuss right now. But they're doing a
League of
like
Legends.
this. Yeah, they're doing a ton of
So
weird
I wonder
things.
if the timing of this has anything to do with the actor and writer strike, which we'll talk about next week. It's almost like, because they didn't actually show any prototypes, maybe they're like, oh shit, we got to go get some properties from things that are from the past or things that we could produce here semi-quickly with not that many new properties and a lot of certainty upcoming.
I love it.
Could just be a hype thing. They could just be hyping us
It's
up
all a
for
hype
nothing.
thing, bro. It's all a hype thing.
But is
and
it
then one
like
Starfighter all over again? Except that they actually showed us that one, not just a screenshot.
I feel like Prey is hype, but I mean, I'm not a big gamer, so is League of Legends like a really hype thing? Also, interesting point. Who brought up the collectible thing? Was that Ben that said that?
I say a lot
This
of
is
collectible
collectibles.
things, yes.
Well, this is collectibles, and the other graphic is collectible. So
That was a
might be
really
honest with
good
you, Ben.
catch. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
is a
again. That
really-
was a
it's
catch
like
from Leal
that's
earlier.
a
I
7-point
just heard
catch.
that, but yeah,
7 points.
I don't know about that.
credit where credit's due. But yeah, I don't know. Could just be a weird miss, but for me, League of Legends, I honestly have no attachment to. I hate to say it. I had to even look up the characters that are attached to it. I've never played the game, don't know anything about it. I think for the folks that are jazzed about this, heck yeah, that's awesome. But not for me.
You know, this excites me in the way that it could bring other collectors into the hobby that, you know, maybe just because I know I have a cousin who's obsessed with League of Legends. That's all he really plays. But he's not a collector at all, but I could show him like, hey, they're doing this, and he might get into 1/6. So it's just another gateway.
Also, the fact that, you know, Hot Toys makes smaller batches on pretty much everything now. So they're probably saying, okay, well, we don't make the same amount of figures. Let's expand outward and make a bunch of different characters. Like you said, Marco, bring in the new ones, but also, you know, that allows them to, you know, continue to produce at a schedule where they need to.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Do we think that this is going to be Cos Baby or 1/6 scale?
Oh, the other one said 1/6, huh?
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Yes,
Yeah, this
it
one
did.
just says Hot Toys
Ooh,
Collectibles.
that would be fucking hilarious.
That's a
Oh, look at
that's
that.
a cursed
Look at us
question.
catching. Look at us reading it. It's like
at you.
it's like the what is that one movie?
What you reading for?
What you reading for, boy? God, I don't know. I don't know any words today. I'm under the weather. I'm dying.
Dean Martin in the chat here says League of Legends is huge, sells out arenas and in gaming tournaments. Or in
Dean, you bastard! Write that damn post on Ox, please. People thought you died earlier in the show.
Zach, is it safe to say you're feeling like a busted ass Adidas today?
I don't use that clip anymore. Just kidding.
It was an alley-oop, bro. It was an alley-oop.
Here we go. Hang on. Where's the button? I don't know if I have that button anymore. Actually, I think I don't think I have that button anymore.
What a class.
Don't give up on me now, Dean.
I like
What
that button.
the fuck?
Off his game.
How dare you? Anyways, let's move on. Berserk Griffith. Now, this comes in 2 versions. I believe the exclusive you can only get on the 3.0 website, at least from what I had seen. The regular is $229. This is released in Q1 2024. Griffith is the one of the main characters of the Berserk franchise. Amazing unmasked portrait. I know you guys probably don't care that much about this, but if Dean was here, he'd be very excited about this. The deluxe does come with the diorama style base. You also do have the 1/6 scale Baelith necklace, which is like this tiny little red dot right there, which seems really shitty to paywall that behind a deluxe release. I really don't like that. Maybe Zach's Wonderland may have to produce one, but yeah, I mean for Berserk collectors, I think this is great. I do think though that their release time frame is kind of odd. They had Guts. They made 2 versions, and I want to say that was over a year ago. Now they're making Griffith. And I just feel like for this kind of collectible, you know, we always talk about new people getting in. There are people that missed that first one that may want a Griffith, but are going to have a very difficult time getting a Guts. So I don't know. It seems like their line is really spaced out. I'm sure when Dean comes back, maybe next week, we can talk about this more. But Dean says he is hyped AF. Let's move on though. Ben, tell us Kira, Major Kira. Help me out here. Nearest. Data.
Yes. Data. Kira's a badass. She's a great character. She's from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. One of my favorite characters of that show for sure. The Exo 6 offering here, again, we get kind of just into the photos aren't very consistent for the solicitation. So some photos she looks red, some photos look orange. The black striping on the diamond pattern on her outfit is way too dark in the show, and even like smaller scale lines like my carded figure here. It's more of an imprintation than it is like a black like diamond pattern. So that's throwing me off just a little bit. Otherwise, though, some of the new accessories this figure comes with are the Bajoran hand pistol there, which I think is pretty cool. I think the likeness to the actress is pretty solid. I think it's one of those, it's going to kind of depend how it is in hand. I hate to say that, but Exo-6 seems to be that way. The Harry Kim that I notoriously make fun of and call sculpted butter, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, Ben, this figure in hand is actually pretty solid. It looks like the actor. So I'm hoping this looks even stronger in person. For now, I would give it somewhere between a 7 and 8, maybe an 8.5 if it's good in person. The hair for her, this actress, changed quite a bit throughout the series. So this is one of her earlier season kind of hairstyles. I would say that the outfit just looks a little too reddish orange. If anything, it should be a little toned down, a little more brown. But that's the saturation of the old show as well. And Deep Space Nine is notoriously not put on like the higher definition discs yet. It would cost a lot of money to get that done. So all you have to reference are the old school DVDs and streaming qualities. So I think for the release, it's cool. The price comes in at $215 with a $20 flat shipping rate from Exo-6, and that pre-order end date ends on August 8th. So if it's something you want to get from them, you can. Otherwise, I mean, I've got most of my Exo-6 figures so far through Sideshow, and that's been a relatively good experience, except for the fact you have to wait that much longer. But I know that the folks right now that are excited about the Deep Space Nine line, they're happy with the Ben Sisko that we got, which obviously is the captain. And the Quark, the Ferengi figure we looked at a couple weeks ago, Zach, that looks really good as well. So right now, the Deep Space Nine line is one of the strongest offerings from Exo-6 so far, especially when you compare them, in my opinion, to the Voyager line. What do you guys think?
I think Ferengi is one of my favorite words. I'm just going to go and say it.
Did I need to have
like
seen the first Deep Space, the first 8 Deep Spaces to appreciate this?
You don't.
That's all I got.
Deep Space 8 is not
if
a
Marco
Star Trek
wasn't
show.
Deep Space, it'd be Deep Space 2.
Wow.
Ben would be Deep Space 12.
Hey, 3, all right?
Yeah, I don't... Sean has an interesting comment here. Nanda says, if you don't like it, go ahead and pass, which is interesting. He says the black thread is dark red. They need a different photographer. It certainly looks black in these photos, but I don't know. I do like the face coloring on the right photo. I think that looks pretty good, to be honest.
It's just hard to see what the paint apps even look like, and I get that Nanjin says take it or leave it sort of thing. Like anybody could say that, but I think it's unfortunate when it's in response to what should be still relatively constructive criticism. Like, we're not ripping this character to shreds. I still think it's one of the better offerings that we've got from Exo-6, despite some of the inaccuracies. So it sucks that you can't bring that to the developer and see if there's a way to have a batch 2 tweak or anything along those lines. He just shuts it down, which is just shitty, especially because there is nowhere else we can buy it, and he knows it. So it is very much a take it or leave it. And this character, while I think she's a badass, it's hard to know if any other company will ever revisit her anyways. This may be the only opportunity you can get in 1/6, which sucks. But there are other characters that are coming from the Deep Space Nine line that we're also excited about. Like I said, Quark, Odo, Jazdia, like a bunch of them. You can't not have Kira in the collection if you want a Deep Space Nine line.
All the classics, honestly.
Do you buy every release for Star Trek?
No, certainly not. They're too steep of lines. For me, though, the Next Generation line, if I invest in one, it would be that one for sure. There's a couple of original, like OG, like Kirk Days that I'd like the 3 from the Wrath of Khan, the outfits they've solicited from those, the Bone Spock and Shatner or Kirk. That could be a pretty cool little display, just from that film specifically. But no, it's going to be mostly Next Gen for me.
Ben, what is the... I know we kind of joked about it earlier, but what does the 9 refer to?
It's just the space station.
Gotcha. Let's talk about this Ghost Rider. Eddie was really excited about that. So this is from Sideshow. It's their premium format figure. Is Eddie there? Oh, he's moving very still.
Yeah,
I was like, he's imperceptible. His movements are so still. Eddie, tell me about Ghost Rider.
Yeah, there isn't a ton of information for this right now. It's up for RSVP on Sideshow. It's their new premium format, so it will be quarter scale. It's pretty decent size. It's like 24 inches wide, 14 inches deep, 21 inches tall. It comes with 2 portraits, a transformation portrait that you see there, and then the regular portrait. But yeah, I'm super excited. They've haven't done a Ghost Rider statue in a while. I don't even know what the original, like how long ago the original one they did was. So for a while it was only the XM one that you could get. There's a lot of custom Ghost Riders out there. The XM one has kind of been the best representation for most people for the longest time. So it's cool to see Sideshow doing one, and I really like the like hot red effect on the bike. Like they made it a point of saying that for the paint apps on the base, that it was like hot red because of the heat, and I think
How's
it
he
looks
gonna ride
pretty
that
sick.
thing?
He is on fire too, dude. So
Yeah, you idiot.
Just kidding. It's science,
but
come on.
I think it's cool that they did like half the bike, not the whole bike. It's still really fucking big, but you save yourself a little bit of space because the XM one is like double the width, I think. So it's a pretty big piece, but I'm excited to see this one come out. I might end up pre-ordering this one because the XM one, now that it's sold out, and it goes for like anywhere from $200 to $2,500. So this will be I'm sure exciting release for a lot of Ghost Rider fans. So yeah.
Dean says, "Damn, the statue's got measurements like Ben."
It's like a baby's arm holding an apple. As Austin Powers.
Where's the light up features?
I know light up would have been sick. They're
They don't
kind of
have that?
doing.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't have one. They're like, so you know how you said with the pleather on Hot Toys.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see the consistency with Sideshow doing light up, because it's like some they do and some they don't. There's no rhyme or reason for it. So it would be nice to see something that should have a light up like this come with one, but I don't know. I guess the pro to that is you don't have to pay the difference for the light up. And it does, like, it looks pretty good in the light. Like, it looks pretty bright. So it looks cool.
Lit.
Yeah, lit. But
Wow.
it would have been nice.
Look at that. Well, we'll update you guys when we get pricing on that one. Now, Marco, this is, you mentioned this earlier, some of the Batch 2 issues with the prank villain by Mars Toys. Some of the issues, Eddie had forwarded these to us. The tie, which went from being very accurate, and the shirt, the second batch, the shirt collar was too big, and the tie is a different material and too large. The first batch had snap fasteners. With the second batch, the waistcoat was differently tailored, and I want to say this was a magnet, Marco.
Yeah, they're magnetic. Exactly.
Magnetic. Now, initially, some people had kind of come to Mars Toys' defense, including Kit. They had said, "Look, we send out many of these, and the batch 2 issues was a pretty standard, like 0.5% issue, right?" But a lot of people, it's very possible it's that vocal minority. Some of our streaming peers had covered it as well. And Mars Toys was quick to, in their own group, they acknowledged it. They said, we hear you, and we will pay attention, and we will improve. And that was a nice message, but I think it still, wasn't quite enough. And shortly after, they announced that they're doing a replacement set for the prank villain. Green shirt, the waistcoat with that initial snap button, and a replacement hand, as one of the more common QC issues was some people were missing a left trigger hand. Now, these are a production lead time of around 2 weeks. This was about 3 or 4 days ago. And I didn't quite understand this from the post, but I think Marco did clarify with Kit that these are all $10, right?
Exactly.
And I know a lot of collectors are going to potentially complain about that price point, but at $10 for this company to send out this order to a factory, probably likely a rush order, right? If this is a 2-week turnaround time, for them to deal with the logistics of the material, getting that stuff made, getting it shipped back, getting it packaged, getting it sent to Kit dealing with the orders and fulfilling those orders, and then shipping them. That's $10 shipped. There's really not no one's getting rich off of this, right? And I have to commend the speed at which they've made these announcements. And I'm curious what you guys think about this. I think this is fantastic for Mars Toys. It's a good look for them.
Yeah, I think this is, I commend Mars Toys and Kit for collaborating, getting something like this done so collectors that have issues can actually have a solution. That being said, I'm very happy to have this figure, but it is not significantly, let me not say significantly, it is worse than the first batch. So that's a risk that I guess you're taking anyways with unlicensed figures, but especially multiple batches. You just don't know the variations. You're just not dealing with the same consistency as you may with, a licensed company. Now, Hot Toys is guilty of having issues in our, there was plenty of things that have gone wrong. So, no company is completely perfect, but I will tell you that this has me pausing on my strategy for adding unlicensed figures. It's just, you just don't know what you're going to get. And so I'm already very picky. I think I only have 3 unlicensed figures completely. And, moving forward, I may not add that many more. I know Mars Toys is doing a whole bunch of stuff. And this is I think this was essential for them to do because they're trying to break into the market. They're trying to make a big name for themselves. If they kind of had the stink of this issue without any resolution, I think it really, really could have damaged them. So we'll see. It may end up still putting a dent in what they do overall moving forward, but it definitely has me reconsidering my strategy.
It's interesting when you mentioned third party, because that's kind of what resonates with me too. It's hard because Mars has been doing really well so far lately, right? I mean, the first batch of this was fantastic. Some of the excitement around some of what's coming from them is getting me extremely hyped about what my Batman collection could look like down the line. But you mentioned that third party aspect of it, and it's true in the sense of I never really thought that there could be such a vast difference between batches when you don't have that expectation of a license backing the figure. For all we know, this is just a different warehouse producing this batch, and part of the reason we're seeing it in such a large quantity is because they just hadn't had a chance to catch it in time. And now that it's been caught, it's okay, well, like you said, it's kind of a necessity to have to do something for collectors, because if they didn't immediately, it would look like they were trying to pull a fast one. This can be a bit of a bump in the road for them, and people will get over it, or this will be something that stains them if we see it again, right? From this point forward, they have to stick to a higher quality control, as well as an R&D control, because again, going from buttons to magnets, that's a design choice even. That's not even just a oops, it got missed, it didn't get stitched well, not just a straight QC challenge. It's a change. And so, yeah, what can we expect from the future? It's still appropriate to mention that there are licensed companies like Star Ace with the Boys line that look worse than any Mars Toys offering we've got recently. Even this current version, if it goes from an A release to a C release, nobody wants that, but it's still pretty good. And now they're changing it. It'll be curious to see what the skill level of collectors is. If you have to change the shirt and you have to change the waistcoat and stuff, you have to have a certain level of skill level with a figure.
That's what scares me. It's
to
do
put
I
it
even want
on,
to
right?
bother?
To change the figure. Exactly. Some people will tear that thing to shreds by accident, and that'll create another nightmare for collectors potentially. So still props to Mars for definitely tucking the tail real quick and giving us something back. But it better just be a bump in the road, not a stain that people have to watch out for now every time. I don't want to have this compared to every future release we have. Let's get back on a good track with them, because otherwise I'm stoked for what they're bringing us every day from their site. So we'll see.
Equan says they shouldn't have made the mistake of rushing the second batch. Did they really not know what they were sending out? They should be eating the entire cost of their intentional mistake. One thing also that I've seen because of this post, a lot of people are saying hey, the Saturn toys, which is likely Mars Toys as well, which wink wink. Mm-hmm. The Dynamic Duo 2-pack, some of the trunks could be made better as well. They're really loose, they were solicited, they looked really fitted. And I worry that, in a way, I think it's important that they address this, but there also has to be a point where I think companies can just say, hey, we fucked up, we're gonna just move on to the next figure. So I don't know that it's good for Mars every release to be making these replacement sets for different things that have been done wrong. I think in this case, being that it was such a decrease from the first to second batch, that makes sense. But I would be very surprised if they did something like this for their first batch dynamic duo, which it seems they may have just had a miss on the pattern for the trunks. And a lot of people said it's an easy fix with just a few stitches. So I wouldn't certainly get too entitled to believe that any small mistake that you're not happy with, they're going to be making new versions. I've seen people criticizing the color of the bat helmet being not blue enough, different things like that. I think this is a very rare exception. I wouldn't say that this is necessarily the norm, but again, I can't speak for Mars Toys, but I don't think it would be.
Well, again, there's still third-party names too, so they're not like it's not Romero Joker, it's the prankster villain or whatever they call it. It can be whatever it wants. Sorry, Eddie.
So the only thing that I think with this is that we call them third-party companies, but I don't feel like they're a huge company. It's probably a guy like us, a collector outside of wherever he's making this from, commissioning a warehouse or factory to make a certain amount of figures. So I do think that it would be easier for him to, or her, or a couple, whoever's doing it, I think it would be easier for them to slip up on these little QC issues or these differences in a batch from first to second. Also, a lot of times, I mean, these warehouses, these factories are so busy that the first batch may be made in one warehouse and the second batch can come from a completely different warehouse. And because it's not as big a company as like Hot Toys, 3-0 or someone with a license, they don't get first dibs on the factories that they choose from. And the only reason why I think this is what's happening in this case is because I've had clothing ordered from like smaller entrepreneurs that like they get their clothing from one warehouse and then the second batches come from a different warehouse and the material is different, the feel is it's completely different, and it's like sometimes they don't even know. It's just because they switch up to the warehouse. So I don't know if warehouses or factories, I don't know if factories always disclose the way they're making these figures for them, or if it's just, this is what we want, get it done. I don't know if they disclose like this is the material we're using, these things like that. I don't know if they do that, especially with a smaller third party company. So I feel like this is that. And then I had a question for all you guys. Does this make your decision in ordering third party, like, does this make you order faster? Like, do you want to be in the first batch? Do you pre-order the first day then so you make sure you get in the first batch? Because I feel like a lot of times the first batch is the best batch. So
yeah, I think I'm kind of learning that the first batch has a higher success rate, but then it just makes me not want to buy third party at all. And to Sean Forrester's point about folks need to understand they are buying third party, it costs less, and folks shouldn't expect Hot Toys quality. This is still a $200 figure though. This is not a $25 item. If you're going to be charging a pretty premium price, I would say, yes, it is less than Hot Toys. Yes, it's less than InArt, but you gotta have that consistency if you want folks to continue to give you that high price. They've got a bunch of figures that are announced, and so I don't accept that as like, oh, well, it's not Hot Toys, so you just get what you get. No, that's bullshit, honestly. It's an expensive item still, and it should have quality to it. TC, sorry, I don't think you've gone yet.
Oh, I think a couple things, like Mars Toys is pretty new, right? They pretty new company.
Yeah, I think relatively new.
Some growing pains, but I think we'd all be shocked at the difference between a Mars Toys production versus a Hot Toys production. Like it's hard to envision like what goes behind the scenes, but I don't know. I mean, I just think that like
you're talking in terms of getting the figure from like paper to physical.
Yeah, from beginning to end. I think it's not that you shouldn't expect high quality. It's just this is going to be more par for the course because like there's no license backing. They don't have 10, 15 years of experience producing figures. So this is kind of expected. But I don't know, like you said, Marco, like there's so much out there now. I've never really been into third party stuff, but even more now, I mean, just there's so much licensed stuff out there that unless it's like a complete classic like this one, I just wouldn't wouldn't touch it.
Exactly.
Cram, we will be covering the Sideshow Con stuff. We're just getting through some of the news of last week. We have a 3,000 subscriber giveaway for Carnage, donated by Collector Zone. TC, what's the bonus code for today? Give me a word for the bonus code.
Dean.
Dean is the bonus code of the day. Enter bonus code Dean for your bonus entry or your first entry. And let's play a little bit of a game. So we have 4 people here today. I want you guys to split into teams of 2.
Zach's not a real person.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm the host. I'm not the
He's
real
AI
person.
generated.
All right, Eddie,
AI
let's
Zach.
go.
All right, Eddie
All right.
and TC, Marco and Ben. Now, on your piece of paper, I want you to write steal and split. Okay? Write it big. Write it big.
I'm writing both of them, right?
Write both steal and split. Now, Marco and Ben, we're going to start with you guys. We're going to take Eddie and TC and myself out of the stream. Okay? I'm going to play our countdown song twice. So it's going to end and start again. During those approximately 60 seconds, you and Marco will chat with each other. At the end of the 60 seconds, you're going to circle steal or split. Okay? There's 6 points on the line.
Ooh.
If both of you choose split, each of you will get 3 points. If both of you choose steal, you will each get 0 points. If one of you chooses steal and one of you chooses split, the person that chooses steal will get 6 points.
Nice.
Okay? Now, when you're done, circle it, fold it up, because we're gonna have Eddie and TC go next. Okay, and they're gonna talk amongst themselves. So you need to convince each other which way to go. Okay, do you guys understand, Ben, Marco?
So
You guys are good?
We would be stealing or splitting with Ben
Between
and Marco.
nope,
Oh,
Eddie
between
and
each other.
between you and Eddie. Yep. So I'm gonna remove you guys here for a second, and I'm gonna let you guys have a chat if you want to steal or split those 6.
All right. What are you thinking, Ben?
I mean, I didn't need to tell you if I think we should steal or split.
What's that?
I'm so confused about the rules.
So basically, all right. So if you
Jesus
and I,
Christ, Ben.
so if you and I,
I'm trying to do these fun games.
If you and I
Last
come to
week's
an
was
agreement,
way easier to figure out.
if we come to an agreement that we're gonna split, we both get 3 points.
Okay.
If we decide that we're gonna steal independently,
Right.
So we both flash steal, we get nothing. So if we
No,
both
I understood
try to
that
deceive
aspect
each other,
of it,
right?
But
But
I
you
thought
can
we
also-
I thought
you
we had
can
to
also-
circle it and then not. How can I have a conversation about what we should do and then not circle it on the paper?
Because Ben, there's this
Because
thing
we're
called
gonna show
lying.
at the
So
same
Americans, so if Marco wants all 6 points, he could be like, Ben, we're gonna do split. Like definitely put split. And at the end, he could choose steal and steal all 6 points.
Okay, I get
There's
it.
there's a like a really famous
There's a
TikTok. where
thing
this
called-
I
guy's
thought I
trying
just
to-
missed something.
Okay, all right.
This guy's trying to convince this girl. He's like,
Wait,
"Come on,
he's
I
gonna-
promise you." I think it was like $500,000 or so, like this large amount. He's like, "I promise you, we're both going home with 250,000." And then at the end of the day, she flashes the steal, and he put split. But what
Well, I
do you
honestly
think, Ben?
think then, as a result of that story specifically, we should steal. So
So you would rather have 0 points than?
I'd rather have.
Okay,
Zero.
okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't like sharing.
Okay,
I don't
interesting.
know
All
how to
right, so
share.
you've drawn a line in the sand.
If you were
You're not even
Dean, I
showing
might
me your
share.
cards.
But I mean,
Because all right, you're not even attempting to convey.
for all you know, this is my poker face, though. Maybe I'm throwing you off.
No, but with this strategy, the only outcome is either I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll give Ben points, or we both get nothing. You've drawn a line in the sand where we both get nothing.
All right, go ahead and circle your choices. Do not show them just yet. So Ben,
Oh my
Marco,
God.
go ahead and circle your choices right now, please.
Yeah, I got you.
I already circled it. Never put me on hot seat first again, Zach.
He's too damn high. He's
I
too
need to
high.
be able to watch the rest of the
He's too
contestants.
high. All right, let's see.
Wait. Explain it again.
Holy
Because what the
Jesus.
fuck?
Next
Right,
week we're
did
doing
that
Are You
make-
Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Because my goodness. Okay, so you and TC are going to have a chat. There's 6 points on the line. You have split and steal on your paper, okay?
Yeah.
By the end of the 1 minute, both of you independently are going to circle either split or steal.
And we're not going
If
to tell
both
each
of
other.
you-
Yeah.
Well, you're talking, so you could say, like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but I
choose
could
split.
lie.
You could
I
lie.
can't. All right.
If you choose steal and he chooses steal, both of you guys get nothing. If you choose steal and he chooses split, you get all 6 points. If both of you choose split, you both get 3 points.
So this whole game is like, is TC a nicer guy than me? This is fucking easy.
Okay, or you have this situation with Ben, and he just draws a hard line in the sand, and it's either 0 or 3.
All right. So what's the game plan, TC?
Well, I've got 0 points, so
I'm
looking
I
for
have
3.
7.
So
All
we
right.
can go 10-3. 10-3.
I am cool. I am 100% cool, and I'm being 100% honest with you. Let's just take the 3. All right.
Take the 3.
I'm cool.
I'm the guest. I don't want to ruffle feathers, so
All right.
I'll go with
Sounds
3.
good.
If you're good with it, I'll go with it.
Okay. I'm cool. We got this.
It's much smoother negotiation than the other 2. All right, Zach, we're ready.
All right. So, Marco and Ben, let's have you guys hold up your choices here.
Wow,
So I
what a
circled
dick.
steal.
Wow.
So you both circle steal, so that's no points.
All right. I want to see if TC's the nicest guy I think he is.
Eddie and
I think
TC.
he is.
Wow. Sorry, Marco.
Oh, he
Split.
did, my man.
Nice.
All right,
3.
3 points for TC, 3 points for Eddie.
You got to sacrifice.
Ben really
10
fucked us
seconds.
over, though.
There's a part of me-
I still don't understand this game. I should have just said whatever you told me to say, Marco.
How did you not understand it? How is
I
this
have
comprehension?
no
so
idea what the
difficult
hell
for
we're
you?
talking about.
All right, I'm on the board. That's all I
fine.
can see.
There's
Fine.
part
We
of me
gotta have
that
T- we gotta
thought.
You
have
can bump
TC
me. You
come
can
back
bump
for
me
the
down to
finale.
4th place if you want. We can put TC up in 3rd spot. I'm okay with
Let's
it.
see. So we're looking at Ben with 11 points, still in the lead. Eddie with 10. Marco and Dean with 9. TC with 3. We have to have TC come back at the end of the month.
Dean.
Let's get back into the because he got Dean Stradamus. He picked all the figures.
Oh, that's right. Damn.
In art collectibles, we'll blow through this quickly. They're going to be at the Japan Wonderfest. This is July 30th, 2023. They'll be announcing the debut of IPs, a brand new product line, as well as bringing its worldwide, very important information, bringing its worldwide licensed works to meet with all collectors. So, as far as I know, nothing that they've shown us yet, because I don't think Harry Potter is worldwide licensed. Marco, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everything that we've seen that's been up solicited has been only licensed in their Asian market. So
Let me double check.
it'll be interesting to see what that's going to be. But if you want to go and check them out, that's going to be at Wonder Festival. Now getting into Sideshow Con. Sean,
And can I just go back to the InArt thing one last
Yeah.
time? So we did have John from InArt on LWO last Friday. And so they are kind of in the process of trying to finalize a few of their prototypes. And he was asking us, he's like, we're not quite sure. The prototypes aren't quite there. Should we still show them? And I was adamant, like, absolutely not. You know this community by now. We will roast you if it's not 100%, so hold off. So that could be, dictating their strategy on what they show if they listen to us. And indeed, they're taking our feedback into consideration. So just wanted to add that one in.
Awesome. So let's run through the gamut here. I'm just going to talk, and whenever you guys want me to stop, you let me know. But Sideshow Con, we did see the R5D4 with the mouse droid, a new armor, which a lot of people are kind of disappointed about. Doesn't make a lot of sense because that one had sat for quite a while. Male and female generic Mandalorians. We also have IG-12 on display. We do also get our first look at a quote-unquote fabric-haired Anakin, which, looks...
Ain't no way, bro. This looks... Whose
no
DI
goddamn
is
way.
this?
Grail.
Yeah, that is something. We also got to see the Dewback, which I do want to spend some time on. This is the Sand Trooper and Dewback 6-scale figure by Hot Toys. Sideshow had done part of their environmental line a few years ago as a statue of a Dewback that paired really nicely with their Sand Trooper and with Hot Toys. So interesting to see this here. How likely do we think this is to be produced?
I think it's pretty
100%.
likely. They did the
100%.
blurg, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't see why not.
I don't think they would show this without it. And I love the blurgs. I have them. The creatures they make, can't wait for this one.
I'm shocked at how big this must be. Like that 6-scale figure up top looks like a 1/12 figure. Like it, I think it's going to be huge.
It'd be massive. What do you think
It's
this
cool,
would
though.
run, Ben?
Oh, I want to say my prediction would be in the 560 range for just the Dewback.
800
For just
bro.
the guy, yeah. That seems like a safe bet, if not more. But yeah, they're for sure gonna do this. This has like so many little intricate details as well. Like they put a lot of thought and effort into this, and I would get this for sure. This is so iconic, 1000%.
Where's the price point that you don't get this though? Because if you think of the blurg is basically like saddle to saddle size. So this is, you're adding a head and a tail that's quite large. You're also adding, the soft goods, fur, the potential soft goods blanket there, the leather pouches. I mean, and a whole figure as well, which obviously the blurg did come with some different options there. I mean, this is $700, $800. Is that still a must-have for you, or what price point do you start to think like, well, do I need it?
Because the Batmobile is 7 something, right? And the DeLorean was 8 something. Is that, being very generic here, but I think that's the breakdown. If it's reaching those prices, then I think it might make me reconsider. Yeah, that's kind of tough to swap. It is a vehicle, but not to that level necessarily.
I think it's about $649 for this set.
That's what you think is the break point?
Yeah, because they priced the blurg at, was it $550? I think extra $100.
I got you.
I feel bad because I don't feel that impressed by it though. I know that I feel bad because I want to like it more. As a Star Wars fan, I feel like the cool answer is that it's really cool, and it is cool, but like $600 or $700 worth of cool, like damn, like yeah, size wise for sure, but I mean it doesn't even look that articulated. Like I don't know. I feel like I've seen toys at my local, like dinosaur toys, for example, at my local museum that look similar to this. Obviously, there's a vast separation there, but several $100s worth of separation.
What type of museum do you go to?
Steep. Well, there's the Royal Tyrrell Museum, really close to here in Alberta, which has got some of the biggest dinosaur displays in all of the world. So it is very
like
cool.
In the gift shop, they have toys that look like this.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff in there. I will send you some pictures.
I think the size is going to be the selling point. I think when you see it in hand, it might change your mind just because the blurg already is huge. So this is going to be pretty fucking big. Like bigger than the tumbler probably. Like longer, I mean, though, not wider, obviously, but like it's going to be the size of a vehicle.
But like the tumbler, the vehicles have lights. They have moving parts. You can put your figure in it. You can close it up. Like all of those things, and they're in that several $100 range. This just feels like a lot of plastic for that much money. I don't know. I just don't feel that impressed.
I mean, the vehicles are just a bunch of plastic too, right? But I get your point, Ben.
The reason I want to support a release like this though is because I'd really like to see like a Tauntaun, for example.
You want that Tauntaun, yep.
I want that Tauntaun. I think that would be cool, and I don't want to not support creatures and then not get that, but I also don't want to be pigeonholed into buying something that I don't think I'd love as much as it would cost.
What is it about the Tauntaun that would be cooler though? I guess is it because a main character is on it?
More iconic.
Yeah, I mean that's
like a background character.
Just a very iconic Star Wars scene, right? And at the beginning of Empire, you think Luke's dead, Han saves him inside the Tauntaun. Like it's a whole badass scene, and then they get saved. Like you think things are seemingly a little dire. I had a hard time recalling exactly when I saw this particular character or this particular creature in comparison.
Yeah. I do hope that they offer the dewback by itself as well. We did see it in Mandalorian. There are people that already have the Sideshow and Hot Toys, Sand Troopers. So be interesting to see what type of purchase options they have for this. But let's move on here. We got Babu Frick / the Ansel Android Smith. This is a life-size figure by Hot Toys. I guess I don't know that. I don't know. I feel like as cool or cute, I don't really know what you would describe this as because I don't really think it's cute, but I don't know that it really had the same effect as Baby Yoda, so I don't think this is going to have that mass appeal that Baby Yoda life-size, both Sideshow and Hot Toys did. I don't know, I could be wrong, but
bargain bin special.
Yeah, this to me doesn't seem like Like I remember. Look, say what you will about the Sideshow Hot Toys, which is better. I don't care. But it crashed their site. So many people trying to order the Sideshow one. Like, that's how popular that character was. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that this needs a life size. Like, I don't think that Babu Frick or even the Anzellans, I think this is a more generic Anzellan, was that popular. So this I could certainly see this one not actually coming to an actual solicitation.
If they didn't do the Yoda, or excuse me, the Grogu and the Pram, then I don't see them doing this.
Yeah. And it's important to remember, everything that you see here does not guarantee it's going to be made. This is like, they're kind of throwing shit on the wall, and not like maybe 70% is probably going to see release.
Going back to that one really quick, Zach.
Yeah, sure.
I would say when I think of life size, I think of lifelike, in the sense of I would expect to see something that we could buy from Hot Toys look like it's literally the prop out of the show. And that prop doesn't have arm seams and plastic looking hands.
Bad.
Yeah.
It's
so
bad.
Like as a life size, it looks like a life size toy, but it doesn't look like the life size creature. And if I want the creature, I wouldn't buy this. It just doesn't look alive enough. At least Baby Yoda had his little smock and stuff, and they could hide that away a little bit. So.
And I think Nicolio says it right here. They're 4 years too late with this, right? I think Babu had much more. He was a lot of a hotter character then than the Anzellans are now. I think the ship has sailed with that. So
well, and even Grogu had the ear seams that took me out of it in terms of the lifelike argument, but still.
Yeah, 100%. We did also have this is an actual solicitation, but the Death Star Trooper and Detention Block control console, which they have teased this since like 2017. So I don't know what they're waiting on, but they've had a prototype of this at many years ago. We also did see Loki with Throne, so it looks like Hot Toys is getting into the Throne game. Ben, is this frustrating for you? I know you just went off camera, but seeing this, I know you had mentioned like some different things. What do you think about this?
I wouldn't call it frustrating. Marco was teasing me in the chat when he said that, I think, because I just bought my Endgame Loki not that long ago, which I honestly really like the figure. Right now I've got him displayed in shackles, holding the Tesseract with his mouth covered, like he's about to basically warp into the Loki show. I was considering getting the Loki from the TVA series Loki because I really liked that head sculpt. And if they're swappable, I would have liked to have the option to swap out kind of both, because I think that head sculpt was superior. So this is kind of a combination of both things that I like about both the TVA and the Endgame suit.
This is President Loki's sculpt, right?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't look that close enough, to be honest. But even still, it's a good sculpt with the outfit that I like the most. So it would have been a good like halfway between if I just got this one as opposed to considering buying two other figures. And the throne is cool. There's not enough thrones out there in the world that are made in 6 scale, in my opinion, yet. And so this one, I've seen commissions of this throne, but it's cool that we're getting an official one from Hot Toys for it. And I like to see the figure looks like he can relatively comfortably sit down in it, considering. So, but it doesn't piss me off. I'm kind of excited, and I might still try and pick up that throne either way at some point, even for the existing Loki that I have now.
This one just feels like a direct response to those customs that we saw. A lot of these things that they've teased almost feel like the community, Hot Toys either saw a custom or they heard feedback. So yes, they're going to end up doing some really goofy things throughout all these, figures that we talk about, like the Anzellan. But I think this one is like, they realize they've got all the pieces together to make a really superior Loki to even what they've put out. And I love the throne, honestly. So gotta wait to see what the price looks like on this, but the Boban throne is definitely one of my favorite figures, so would consider this one for sure.
Joe P says another 4 years too late figure, ... or 10. It's kind of true, though. If we'd got this years ago, I would have been even that much more hyped. But I am a little bit past the movies now at this point for the throne scene. So
I feel like Hot Toys, we think everything's random, but maybe like behind the scenes, they just map out a 15-year plan for their releases, and then you just get what you get whenever you get it. And we're just all, susceptible to getting frustrated.
Can't wait to get Andor in 2026.
right?
No, do
And if
map.
they map shit out, they shouldn't give you the Pennywise figure at Christmas. They missed Halloween. They could have got you that at Halloween.
I think it would be cool to put Odin on the throne. I think it would have been cooler to see
an
Odin with the throne. Than
Dude,
Loki.
that would have been cooler. Good call.
Speaking of thrones, I bet in the chat, Erwin says, I feel like if we get a 2.0 Bo-Katan, they will include the throne as an option, which lines up with the thrones that they're doing lately and would give Dean another 3 points there. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Now this one is kind of, I don't know how I feel about this. Iron Man: The Origins collection.
This is literally what everyone was asking for when we saw the plastic version of this.
Exactly, and it's like people talk themselves into like really liking the plastic one, and then they give us this. It's like, it just seems very backward. And obviously this is a classic red and yellow Iron Man. Like, this is fucking awesome. But I feel like they should have led with this. But I think if they want to sell the most number of figures, it makes more sense to do it this way. I don't think you get the most goodwill, but I like the portrait, but I feel like the mustache needs to be a bit more pronounced. But the sculpt is fantastic. I really, really dig what they're doing here with this one.
Yeah, this is really cool, and it does open the door to getting additional figures kind of in this comic inspired, a lot more true to what we see on the page versus that really stylistic version of that Iron Man that basically is this, but they took the plastic bits off and gave it a more, comic accurate paint job. I would have loved to see a bit more of like metallic paint finish. Now I get that what they're going for, but it would have been kind of cool if they split the difference and still kind of gave us something that looked a bit more modern. But this is cool. I would for sure consider this.
It might have to depend on what the price point is on this for me. It looks a little cheap to me. Like, I get the concept that they're going with, but just the joints really stand out for me, especially the leg, like where the legs attach at the hips. It looks like a big toy, Zach. It looks like something that you would collect from a store and show us on your new this week, but in this scale, not.
Yeah, I have the same figure in Marvel Legends, 100%.
Yeah, exactly, and so I do think it's cool. I think it's for a certain collector. If you're an Iron Man collector, very cool. But I don't know. I don't love this. I was surprised that people were as excited on this one as they were.
It's any die cast in there, maybe.
Yeah.
It looks super
You would
plastic.
assume so.
I think if it's not, it's a huge misstep. To be honest,
I think it's cool. I like that base with the Iron Man classic logo. That's really cool. I thought this was a really cool figure. So I'd love to see a comic Thor. So if this does well, but I don't know if they're gonna do a whole comic line or if it's just because Iron Man is their bread and butter. They did Iron Man as the classic, but I guess we'll see. But I think it's really cool. People love that other one. So I'm sure people will eat this up.
Definitely. Now we did also see the Guardians team, which I think they look absolutely fantastic together. Even Cosmo, look at that. Cosmo looks fantastic. But yeah, I know a lot of people are saying they need the Groot. I want to say this is our first time seeing Mantis. And Drax, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But yeah, these look fantastic, and we always say that companies like Hot Toys, if there's an ensemble cast, they should work to bring us that full set. So I give credit where credit's due. Just remember, just because they're showing it doesn't mean they're solicited. But being that we've seen, I believe now 3 of the team, Rocket, Star-Lord, and Nebula, I want to say that bodes well that we're seeing the rest of these.
And Groot
and Groot, I'm sorry, you are correct. So I think we're over the hump on that. So we'll see if they actually bring these to the table. But yeah, these look fantastic together.
Love to see a Gamora. I really like to see a Gamora because first of all, her hair, they wouldn't have to root it. They could sculpt it, and it would give a good look because everything here is team suit. So she didn't wear the team suit. Oh
yeah, a little bit of an outlier.
Sorry, spoiler, but yeah, she didn't wear it.
No, I completely agree with you, TC. That's the one that I'm holding out for. So I've already, got the Star-Lord and the Rocket on pre-order. I don't think I need the entire line, but I would consider a Drax. And if they did that Gamora for sure. So it looks like Adam Warlock is teased on, on that image that we showed earlier. And then I've heard some rumors of a Yondu 2.0 as well. So that'd be interesting if they really went deep down this line and it certainly seems they're marching that way. So watch them give us all but one of those that we just listed would be classic Hot Toys.
For sure. I did see a picture of Drax and I thought it looked proportionally a little strange. So I wonder if it's like the older head. Like, I don't know if it's a new head sculpt or not. It was hard to tell, based at least on the images I saw. Maybe they've pieced it together a little bit, but I'm trying to avoid this line because this is one of my favorite movies of this past year. I saw this movie in theaters 3 times. I loved it. And I really liked Nebula as a standout performance in the film. So I was already really trying to decide whether I wanted this Nebula or the Ravager suit Nebula from the past. But to commit to all of them is a lot. So I'm trying to talk myself out of it, I think, entirely at this point and strategize my collection otherwise. But it's hard because I actually really liked this film. They're all badass, though, for sure.
If they did a 7-pack of these, would you? No.
Jesus Christ!
God.
If it was a
Release
good price
the
7-pack, I would consider it.
Jesus Christ! Only 3,000 Canadian. MODOK got shown, and I mean, I guess like I didn't think he was that cool, but the chat earlier were saying that they wanted to see they wanted to actually purchase this. So I mean, is MODOK like that guy? Like, people really like him that much?
Not that guy.
He's not that guy, pal. I don't know. Let me pull up these photos from the Hot Toys Reddit. I don't know. Maybe I didn't read the room, but what do y'all think? Is this like a must-have figure?
It's a little bit like Lane in that picture.
Bro, I messaged Lane and I was like,
So
"Can I Photoshop your
messed
face
up.
onto this?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Okay, I understand."
Poor Lane.
I mean, this is a huge space eater. I mean,
It looks
Huge.
exactly like he did in the movie. So that's crazy. Like, it looks super detailed, but no, I don't think he's that guy. I don't even think this will sell that well. Too, right?
Yeah. It's going to be expensive. It's going to eat up a lot of room in the collection. Like TC's saying, like, how well will this really sell? It just doesn't feel like one that they'll actually end up doing, especially because the movie was so panned. I'm shocked that they didn't just like throw this in a dark room somewhere and never speak of it. It's they seem to nail it, but yeah, it's just too random of an addition.
I think it's just the size that throws me off. If it could have just been this, because he doesn't have all his weapons displayed out like this all the time, especially in the movie. If they just had the kind of more compacted version of him, I might be more interested. Because like you said, Eddie, it does look exactly like how he looked like in the film, and the detailing on that face, at least in this picture, looks
weird.
It's creepy, real. Like it's
eyes are wild.
It looks like you could touch it and it would feel like you're touching a bald guy's head, Like I don't know. It's got
extra for that.
So, but I don't know. I wouldn't get this, unfortunately, at this point. Not based on what it looks like here.
And I feel like this is, to me, prime for like a power pose, right? It doesn't need to be a full figure release, somewhat of a static statue. I could see this actually come into solicitation. I just didn't think that enough people cared about this film or this character to warrant, something official. I guess I was wrong. People were saying they'd buy this earlier in the chat. So there's your MODOK there. We also we knew this was coming, Spider-Gwen. They've showed it with the Miles Morales and then the 2099. So we knew that was coming. Our topic for tonight, unless anyone wants to just circle back on any of these, we'll move on.
No.
All right. Our topic for tonight, your collection. Does your collection represent you, or does it represent what is cool? Marco, go ahead and lead us off here.
Yes, this was actually Ben's topic, so maybe I'll defer to him on what exactly he meant by this one. But for me, so the way I'm interpreting this question is, my collection does represent me. Everything that I buy is something that I think is interesting. Now, not every single piece that I have in the collection is like, this was my favorite thing when I was a kid, or this was my favorite film that I saw. A lot of the things are just like, I have a connection to this character, to this design, to this piece of art. So I would say like this Carnage is a good example of it representing my representing me, in that I didn't like the film at all. I almost walked out of Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, but I love the Carnage character. I love how it looks in the 6 scale design. And so I've got that connection there. And so I think I, can kind of parse it out in a lot of different ways. The same with the Mars Toys Joker that we talked about earlier. I can have that in my display and say, it's a Joker. I didn't necessarily love the 66 film, but, opening that up, it reminded me of being at my grandparents' house, watching the 66 not the cartoon, but the show kind of on syndication. And then I kind of got the feels for it. So it's, again, not everything is going to have like a deep emotional connection, but everything that I buy represents something that I feel towards that property, and not just things that just look cool.
Everybody, well said. The question for me came out of our last Let's Get Nuts live stream on the Ben Thomas Show on Sunday last week, because Eddie and I were on there chatting. And I don't remember what led the comment, but basically kind of what I positioned it as: when you walk into my collection room, if you're somebody who doesn't know me very well, because obviously I talk about the nerdy shit I like all the time, whether it's Star Trek or Batman or whatever, Ninja Turtles, all of the things. If you didn't know me, you should be, in my opinion, should be able to walk into my collection room and look around and know all of the things that truly I get excited about. Whether that is 6 scale, whether it's art, whether it's Pogs, whether it's Batman vehicles, whether it's stickers. Well, like, it doesn't matter what it is that's in here. I have the ashes of my cat Zelda, which was named after my favorite video game of all time and also my favorite kitty of all time. Like, she's part of the collection room now. Like, everything that's in here represents me and a part of my life. And I know that's a morbid example, but I don't even care, because Marco, you mentioned it, that tying to your grandparents. As soon as you mentioned that, to me, that resonated. Otherwise, it's, in my opinion, it's just a cool figure and objectively really cool. And if I had all the money in the world and all the space in the world, I'd buy everything that I just thought was cool, not even what represents me. But I started thinking about this stuff for my collection room actually after we had Chris Leddy on last time, because when Leddy made his return back to streaming again and showing his collection room behind him again, he'd kind of talked about how he gutted a lot of his collection. Not gutted, but like sold a lot of things that didn't necessarily, he'd bought because they were cool and not because they were like him, the representations of him. And I thought that was cool, because the more I buy, the less space I have left. And so every little piece of space that's left in this room, I'm trying to allocate to the things that truly, are me, Ben, not just because people think it's cool on the internet. And as a result, I'm like, that is pretty cool, but I don't need it. It's kind of like why, TC, when you asked earlier if I collect all the Star Trek lines, I love Star Trek. If I could have the money and space to collect them all, I honestly probably would. But for me, it has to just be the next gen line if I'm going to collect the line, because space is also precious and money is precious. So, for sure.
Yeah. I don't really care what other people think is cool. I just don't. I would say the extent of my collection of how I organize it is maybe so that people can see certain parts that I want to be seen. If you see my collection tour video, there's things here and here that you never really see, and then up there. That's really the only extent that I care for that, but obviously it's not super popular to have like 7 Gandalfs or 64 retro symbiote Spider-Mans, or I just don't care. I said this on Will's channel on a similar topic, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that has to pay for all this shit, and I'm the one that has to enjoy it when the camera is off and 95% of the time that it exists in this space. So I just don't care. I mean, there's things that, like, I felt when I first started collecting, seeing the groups, like, I felt like there were figures that not that you had to have, but like I felt like if you wanted to be like popular on the groups that you would post. And then I just realized like that's stupid, and so I just started basically doing my own thing. And I haven't really ever regretted that. Like, I feel very content with what my collection is. It's a mix of 1/6, 1/12 Lego, custom stuff, 3D printed stuff. And I'm super happy with it. I just don't really care. Sometimes what I like ends up lining up with what is cool, but it's never that I'm like seeking to buy something that I have no clue what it is. Admittedly, there's been times I bought things that did look cool, but I bought them because I thought the design was cool and I enjoyed it, rather than like to appease like the internet mob, whatever. Like I just don't really care, to be honest. Like I'm a grown ass man. Like I don't really care if people walk into my collection and were like, man, this sucks. Like I enjoy it, my kids enjoy it, or kid enjoys it, my wife enjoys it. I'm the real deal, Eddie. I'm the real article. What about you, TC? Do you subscribe to that like hype beast mentality?
Not really. I think maybe I have a little different take on it. I've been around Hot Toys for like since 2015. It's around. I wasn't always collecting them, but I used to like if I collected my number one character right now, I would collect only Iron Man because love Tony Stark. He's my number one guy, Iron Man. But I won't buy an Iron Man figure anymore. I think I just, from my past decisions, probably just scarred from it. So I think what I buy more now is kind of what I just think Hot Toys does a good job with. And if it aligns with a character I like, then I'll look for the version of the character I like the most, like Luke Skywalker. You know, Luke Skywalker, I'm not the biggest Luke fan, but I do appreciate what Hot Toys has done, and I like the Bespin Luke. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing. Like my expression of me is not necessarily, you know, a specific figure. It's more of having figures in the collection, kind of as a more broad thing. And then within that, you know, I will focus on things like I have my Mandalorian collection. That's probably my favorite thing. I'm gonna get the Lord of the Rings stuff from InArt, but outside of that, I kind of just taken a more relaxed general approach to how I collect, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I don't really care what people think. I will say I have, you know, bought figures just because they're exclusive, but that's just how I've always been, you know, in some capacity. So yeah,
totally, man.
So for me, I guess the reason this stood out for me when Ben mentioned it is because I think that's the way my collecting has escalated. Is like now I'm super picky about what I'm getting and super like just on. I finally figured out my path, I think. So first of all, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to collect. If you want to buy all the shit just because it's hype and it's limited or it's exclusive or people don't have it, whatever, that collect the way you want to collect. I don't care. But I don't want people to come into my collection and think, oh, he loves Hot Toys or he loves one certain brand. I never thought, like, I've never been that kind of collector. I kind of like to mix and match everything and get different stuff all over, you know, Legos and model kits and Hot Toys and all kinds of different stuff. So, but I do want people to come in and go, oh, he loves the 80s. He loves the 90s. He loves cartoons. He loves video games. Like, I kind of like that Ben mentioned, like, they can come in and kind of get an idea of who you are. And, like, I don't, even though some stuff is cool and I may have that stuff here or there, like, stuff that, like, I never had nostalgia for or I never really love, it's just because it looks really cool. I will have maybe one or two of that, but I don't want people to come in and, like, see something and go, oh, he loves, I don't even have an example because I don't have shit in here that I don't like that is just cool, but like I don't want him to see one thing and go, oh, he likes that, and then really it's just there because it's cool or something, or like I don't know if that makes sense. But going forward, yeah, everything, like I kind of want it to have a reason and be like, oh, he loves Arnold Schwarzenegger, he loves you know, like I said, like he loves like action movies, he loves, for comic stuff, he loves the strong characters that are also kind of annoying and assholes because he's kind of like says whatever the hell he wants to say. Like, yeah. So I want people to get a sense of my personality when they see what I get. And like when something new comes out, people immediately think, oh, like Eddie will want that. Also, like if your family member sees your shit and they're like, what could I possibly get Eddie that he would like? They will know exactly what I like because of what I got.
There
But
we go. You know, it's a funny through line, though. In all of our collections, if Joe Schmo walks in, they just realize, like, we just are in touch with our inner children, that, you know, a part of us never grew up, that we just love the things that, you know, growing up we had an attachment to. Like, that's really all that most people are going to see. Like, oh, this is really cool, but also they're just a big kid. And I'm kind of proud of that. I've grown from being ashamed of that to, like, wearing that, you know, on my sleeve a lot more often.
I appreciate that. That's a good sentiment.
Do people, do you show off your rooms often? Hardly anyone ever comes in my office. Except for my dog, my wife.
Sorry.
That cough is horrendous.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't have a lot of people over. Usually if they're over, they're collectors. Every once in a while my wife will have someone over and they'll get a glimpse from like we have a small house, so you can kind of see into every room. So every once in a while, but it's not often. Yeah, it's not often.
I've had a lot of people through my room lately, but mostly because
wow.
I'm
That
excited.
Magnum.
Oh my God. I'm just excited to show people. I think it's cool. I put a lot of time and effort into this room. Like, this is probably the most developed room in my whole apartment right now. And yeah, I've been going on dates recently. I've also had dates over here. And it's interesting seeing like a female's perspective of a collection room. Like, I had my friend Hannah in here the other day, and I was showing her the figures. I let her like hold an Iron Man so she knew what like the weight of an Iron Man felt like. Because like to me, I'm like that. It feels expensive, you know. It's heavy. It's cool. Like, and while she thought it was all like cool stuff, she doesn't have the same connection to it as I do. But still, again, same thing. She could look around and be like, oh, you clearly like X, Y, and Z property. Like, you're a geek. But being a geek is kind of cool nowadays too. Like, there was a time where I didn't even tell people I like Batman, let alone like collect Batman. Like, it wasn't cool to be a nerd at one point. Now it's cool again, and has been for a pretty long time. So I feel like if that's a part of your personality, kind of like you said, Marco, celebrate it. Who cares if somebody doesn't like you because you collect figures? Screw that guy or girl. Like,
you don't want to
doesn't
be
matter.
their friend anyways.
Don't want to be your friend. Yeah, right. I want to and it helps to have a door to your collection room, because if you have somebody over that you don't trust or you think will be judgy, then close the door and they can F off.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely not the first thing that I show off, but you know, as folks like kind of, if we tour the house and I'm like, here's, you know, the theater and collection room, and I don't like turn on all the lights, but most of the time people are like, whoa, what's going on here?
Like,
and obviously they
Didn't
always
you
want to
have
ask how much they cost.
some people that were really impressed recently? I think you said like your cousin's girlfriend or some friend came over.
My cousin's girlfriend,
like,
and yeah,
you thought they were going to clown on you, but they're
much younger. They're like in their, you know, they're in their mid-20s, and I was like, oh, these young ladies are going to roast me right now, and they were, you know, obsessed with the collection. So I did feel pretty cool that day for sure, which doesn't happen often for me. So
they were like, wow, this Marco guy's got money. Damn.
There we go.
I've never
and he spends
had
it on dumb shit.
I've never had the luxury of having a separate room to have my collection in. So
That's fair.
Anybody who comes into my apartment ever will see it. So like I've had like the dude that comes over to install the internet come over and like look at all my collection and be like, oh, this is really cool. Or like,
yeah,
you know, just random people. Or if Adriana's friends came inside, like, and because half of it is in the bedroom and there's some stuff in the living room, they come in, they're going to see everything that I have in the bedroom. Or so like, I guess I've always had people look at the collection, you know, so that's kind of why I want it more to represent me and not just like represent some, like I don't want to be known as a hoarder too. So there's like a separation between collecting and hoarding. So I guess I want it to be more curated than just a bunch of shit.
It's a very thin line.
I feel like I'm crossing that line lately because I know I'm moving, so I'm not really cleaning too much in here. It's getting bad, bro. I need to get my shit in order because I'm not moving here for a while.
Nothing made me feel like a bit of a figure hoarder until I had to move, and I had to like the stack of boxes in my apartment that were literally just 6 scale boxes was aggressive, and I don't have near the size of collection as some folks do. Like, I'm just under 40 figures at this point, which for me is a lot. For some people, like that's nothing though, right? Some guys have hundreds, right? So I'm like, when I see 40 Hot Toys boxes stacked out in the living room, I'm like, okay, like I might need to slow her down here soon. Especially since most of those for me have come in the last 2 years. But yeah, I don't know. I think I had a friend once who I went to his house, and he was an older guy going through a divorce, and this is way before I collected 6 scale, like years before, and he had a whole Sideshow 6 scale collection in his basement. But it was really overwhelming. Posters were overlapping posters, figures were overlapping figures. Like, it was just stuffed into this basement room, and it felt really overwhelming even to me. And he was showing me because he knew I was a fellow nerd. He knew that I would think lots of it was cool, and I did, but I did feel a little overwhelmed by just like how much stuff was packed in there. And so that's a takeaway that I've always had. Like, I don't want anybody to come in, kind of like you said, Eddie, to and feel like overwhelmed, but some people just would, even with the amount of figures that I have, because that's 39 more than they'd ever consider buying, because they might have one favorite character, not 50 or 100 like some of us figure collectors have, right? So it's so subjective as to whether it's like you said, like a hoarding mentality or collecting just in general mentality versus being strategic.
I love this discussion.
Quick point to your point, Ben. You mentioned earlier having a door to the collection room is nice. I'll attest to that, because we'll just call it without a family, friends, kid. Went into my collection room one time, took the Funko Pop out of the box immediately, and then
took it out of the box.
Do you smack him?
No, it was a cheap Funko Pop Spider-Man.
Beat his ass.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it happens, and it hurt a little bit. But no,
yeah,
it's all good.
The other cool thing I think is the stories that come out of people seeing your collection. So, for example, you mentioned the internet guy, Eddie. I had that happen with me recently. I had an internet guy come through and set it up. And as soon as he walked in, it's interesting to see what characters those people gravitate to. This particular guy loved the Marty McFly and Doc Brown behind me. He thought it was the coolest representation that you could get. Like, he'd never seen 6 scale before, he'd never heard of it before. So, we rag on the Doc Brown for not being the updated sculpt and still having the holes behind his ears and everything, right? But he saw this Doc Brown and was like, oh my god, it's Christopher Lloyd, and like, what? You have Marty McFly too? And he's like, can I see it up close? Like, can I
Absolutely.
He was just blown away. So, I mean, like, and then he told me about his love for the film franchise, and that it was something that he explored with his dad, back when his dad was alive, and he just had such an attachment, and he was going to go out and look for these figures after the fact. It was like, it's cool, the stories that come out of what people collect or connect with your collection as well. So, if you ask them.
It's awesome.
None of you guys have
beautiful
beads to your
anal
collection,
beads
to your collection room, like dangling beads that. I imagine Ben would have like a smoke room,
that's a Ben
like
thing.
with fucking bean bags and like neon lights and shit.
He's got a bean.
He has
bag,
neon
right?
lights.
I've got lots of neon
that type
lights.
of stoner, all right.
Could be.
Yeah, no beads in this house.
Well,
well.
those kinds. Our movie of the week is Jurassic World Dominion. I don't even think I got the summary for today. Let's look this up real quick. Jurassic World Dominion. 4 years after the destruction of Isla Nublar, dinosaurs now live and hunt alongside humans all over the world. This fragile balance will reshape the future and determine once and for all whether human beings are able to remain the apex predators on a planet they now share with history's most famous creatures. I saw this movie a little late into its theatrical run, and I knew that it was bad. Like, everyone told me it was bad. And for context, Jurassic Park is my favorite film of all time. Knowing that it was going to be bad, I fucking love this movie. It has so much shit going on in this movie. There's like a kidnapping plot, a dinosaur plot, fucking dinosaurs everywhere, locust plot,
Clones,
Henry Wu redemption
humans.
arc, penis. I don't know what you just said, but there's something for everyone here, and I gotta say, the dinosaur scenes were fucking awesome. The I don't know where they're at. They're like in some tropical sort of place, but with the white velociraptors running through the street and like the underground dinosaur fighting ring and just all that fucking commotion. I was like at the edge of my seat. I was like, holy shit, this movie is fucking awesome. The dinosaur fights in the movie are fucking awesome. The special effects were pretty good. I didn't really see anything that really struck me as odd. Maybe the locusts at some point. But man, if you can set aside like, hey, Jurassic Park was a really great film, and now these movies are just really fun movies. If you can separate those, I think you would enjoy it. And I think a lot of people couldn't quite separate that. This is a fun movie. It just has a lot going on, but I absolutely love it. Seeing Sam Neill on the big screen again, reprising the role from Jurassic Park 3, obviously Jurassic Park 1, fantastic. Ian Malcolm, just fucking Ellie Sattler. Like, this movie had it all for me. Like, I feel like this movie gave me what The Force Awakens / Star Wars couldn't, with like reuniting the big three on the big screen for like one last adventure. And it is a bad movie. Like, it's not a good movie. But just having like the closure of my childhood, like I remember as a kid when in Jurassic Park 3, when I guess it's either made known that Ellie Sattler's married to somebody else, I was kind of bummed by that. I was like, man, I really felt like they would get married, right? And to see them have like, you know, she's divorced now, like there's like that hope again. It's just so good. Like I really like this movie. The pilot character is really fun. Some really cool dinosaurs like the Quetzalcoatlus, the Giganotosaurus, and the Therizinosaurus, the big claws.
You're just making up shit at this point.
Bro, that scene where she's in the parachute and it's like hunting and it like yeets that deer. Bro, such suspense. The cave scene. If you can overlook an absolutely like clusterfuck of plot, this movie is fucking awesome. I love this movie. I will defend this movie. I will die on this hill. This movie is fucking dope. I love this movie.
Zach, you're a madman, but I have to agree with you that okay,
I am a madman.
I'm not as enthusiastic about this film as you are, but I had insanely low expectations because the previous one, Jurassic World, what was it called? Was it
Fallen Kingdom?
There you go. Fallen Kingdom was terrible. Absolutely despised Fallen Kingdom. I really enjoyed Jurassic World, though. I thought
Jurassic World's a really good movie.
Yeah, it wasn't like a perfect film, but to see the park fully realized, I was like, actually, this is pretty incredible. So was hyped off the first one. Second one was horrendous. I hadn't seen this one up until I picked it for Movie of the Week and watched it, and I was like pleasantly surprised. Yes, there are parts that are like absolutely a fever dream, like the dinosaur wet market was bizarre, but it was kind of hype though. Like all of the action within that kind of set piece was pretty incredible. I just thought it was, obviously you mentioned bringing back the old cast. I thought there were a lot of really redeeming qualities. And again, probably about halfway through this film, I was like, this isn't nearly as bad as everyone was saying it was. And obviously speaking to expectations, they were just set so low that I was just able to enjoy it for what it was and not what I wanted it to be. And I just want to quickly shout out John, the Everyday Collector, because he used to always read the Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm going to try to bring that back here. So 29% was the tomato meter. So 29% of critics thought it was at least fresh. That maybe is like 3 stars and above out of 5. And then
what was the fans number?
Yeah, so 77% of the audience enjoyed it. So I think, you see that disconnect there. That's always pretty intriguing. For the most part, I normally feel like I fall with the critics, but in this instance, I think this is like, there are a lot of redeeming qualities. Again, there's a lot of really stupid stuff in here, but I think you just shut off your brain, maybe have some popcorn, have a drink if you're into that thing, other things that Ben Thomas would do, and yeah, just enjoy it, I think. So what do you think, Ben?
Just quickly here. One thing to remember about the Rotten Tomato score is the critic score is a yes or no. Is it fresh, thumbs up, or is it rotten, thumbs down? There's no like, oh, it's like an 8 out of 10. It's like a 5 out of 10. That's where the fan score, you actually give it a rating. So when a movie has 100% fresh, that means of the number of critics that they showed, all of them said like this is a fresh movie. So it's a little. In that case, it'd be like 30% of critics said it was a good movie and 70 didn't. Whereas the fan score is just a rating of the movie overall out of 10 or 5.
And I don't even know if the cutoff is good. They might just say it's an okay film, right? Okay could be fresh and it's not like bad. But yeah, it's tough. There's not a lot of
it's very
not a lot of wiggle room.
Yes or no. It's you're right. It's very black and white. Sorry.
No worries. So your take on it was like the most rose-colored glasses take I've ever heard you have, I think, to be honest. I know you love Jurassic Park, and I know you love dinosaurs. And pretty much if you combine the two, you'll probably have a good time at the very least.
I did.
I had extremely low expectations for this film, and I don't feel like it even met those expectations. I hate to say it. Now, the expectations that I had were that I would be very nostalgic seeing all the old cast back together. And there were elements of that I did like. I didn't like, though, that Sam Neill's character is the number 2 choice beyond her ex-husband at this point. Like, after Jurassic Park and they're flying off in the helicopter together and they hold hands, that should have been it. That should have been their life and their destiny. And I get they have life beyond that movie. But that just made him feel like a second choice. I really didn't like their daughter in this film. I thought she was super annoying. She just was not obedient at all or understanding of anything that they were trying to relay to her. I thought they found her too easily. Like, once she was kidnapped, I was like, how do you get kidnapped in this world and get found again by Buddy here riding off? And like, it just felt smushed together. I did not like it. Somebody, I think it was F. Wellington in the chat, said Jurassic Park Dominion is like or equal to Ghostbusters Afterlife. I liked Afterlife more. Afterlife made me tear up with the Harold Ramis parts and stuff at the end. No part of this was nostalgic enough for me to feel that emotionally connected, which then to me, I had to rely on the movie then being a good movie, and I didn't feel like it was that great. There were cool parts, and the scenery is cool. The locust scene was really cool. Like, there were parts that I thought were fun. But then there were also parts that I thought were silly, like when Owen, the character, what's his name, Chris Pratt's character, Owen. There's a scene where he falls into ice cold water, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is gonna get dire quick. And then he just gets out, and he's like not even wet and or cold for some reason. He just like gets up and keeps going, and I'm like, okay,
Bro,
like
he's a Navy SEAL. Gotta give him some credit.
Man, the stakes just felt, as I said, it just, I don't know. I watched this about 7 months ago, and when it was the movie of the week this week, I was like, okay, I'll rewatch it. Maybe I missed some things that I thought I would like more, and I did not. I will never watch this movie again.
Real quick, for some reason, comments aren't loading on StreamYard, so I was like, man, they really hate the show.
Yeah.
This was the last comment on my end. I was like, the 7-pack. I was like, man, people really have not vibed with the last 32 minutes of the show. There's a shitload of comments.
Yeah.
There's a shitload of comments. I feel awful that we have not been. Yeah, I apologize. People,
I thought it was just my StreamYard.
Yeah, I was like, wow, we absolutely suck.
Like
Ben, it's funny that you mentioned the water thing in Jurassic World when he cuts the gasoline and he's like rubs it all over himself, and like the next scene he walks into the room and he's like completely clean and no one's like, dude, you smell like gas and like just you smell like ass. Like, what are you doing here?
Like gas.
You smell like gas and ass, bro. What are you doing?
That's funny.
Oh man, that's funny. What did you think about it, Eddie?
Oh, this is a tremendous piece of shit. It's horrible. It is by far the worst film in the franchise. It sucks. It took itself way too seriously. This is like Mission Impossible with dinosaurs. It's the fucking stupidest thing. And they tried to make the locust like a world-ending thing. Like, we came here to see dinosaurs, and the plot is the locust.
Yeah,
what
that
the
kinda
fuck?
sucked.
And the only thing that's cool about this is the fact that there's different dinosaurs that we haven't seen before. And the fact that they brought Dodson back, which is like a nod to true fans. Like,
Bro,
and
that
immediately
is
you're
a
like, it's
huge
Dotson.
nod.
Yeah, so that was probably the coolest fucking thing of the movie. But no, I fucking hate this movie so much. It made no fucking sense. It sucks.
I did
hate
actually like
everything
the
about
Falling Kingdom more. When I saw that one, I thought I liked
that movie's dope too. All these movies are fucking bangers.
Fallen Kingdom is by
This is-
far better than this. Even if
this
that
is
one sucks,
significantly
it's
better than that
worlds
one.
better.
I don't think y'all realize like when I was a kid, Jurassic Park scared the shit out of me. It was horrifying. And these movies, I think, capture that really well. Like, when I saw Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, my daughter actually started crying of how scared she was. And that's what you need, right? Like, it's got to scare the kids.
It wasn't scary to me as a
You know,
kid. I was in awe. I was like, this is fucking like, it's like amazing. Like all these dinosaurs. I wasn't scared of it. I would rather be in awe than be scared.
The only scary part was that severed arm in the underground tunnel.
I kid you not, as a kid, my nightmare, and the reason I couldn't sleep as a kid, was that I'd look out my window and see a T-Rex with like my
Dude,
dog's
so many
collar
dreams.
hanging out of his mouth. Bro,
I'm not gonna lie.
That scene fucked me up.
That's why we're
bad,
brothers.
bro.
I have nightmares to this day about that
weird
shit.
neighbors.
Bro, pancake,
I do-
that's not even like a little morsel, bro.
That's right.
I have
That's a
nightmares
pancake taco,
about T-Rexes like being rampant in the city. So would've
yes,
thought-
you did get scared from it. It's a scary movie.
But
These
the
are scary
movie didn't
films.
scare me. Like I had nightmares of a fucking T-Rex killing me, but I wasn't
Just
scared of
riding
the
public
movie.
transit and all of a sudden a T-Rex is running alongside.
But
Pretty-
You're at
I would've
Blockbuster
thought-
trying to get a damn rental, and a fucking car comes in from a T-Rex.
I didn't like how easily the dinosaurs were like incorporated into everyday life. Like I would have thought if dinosaurs got loose, it would have been much more like I Am Legend kind of vibe, like end of world, like apocalypse, and the cities would be like deserted and people would be like have created their own sanctuaries and shit like that. I would have thought that, but it's like no, there's black markets of dinosaurs and like rings of fighting and like I don't know.
I thought that made a lot of sense. Like,
yeah.
Can you imagine like if, I mean, you're not talking like thousands of dinosaurs, right? Like if 10 velociraptors got loose, bro, the police and the Navy or what is it, the National Guard would take care of that like in an hour. Like,
Bro, Dean would take care of that. Have you seen how many guns that
yeah,
guy's
if they
got?
came in Texas, are you kidding me? They yeah, I don't think that that it would have been like all doom and gloom, to be honest. Like to me the biggest threat ironically was the locusts. Like yeah, like that could be a real thing, right? Like there's always that threat with wars that like people are going to go after food supply and water, right? Like
that's the fucking
that
problem.
seemed more realistic to me than
Everybody wants realistic. It's fucking dinosaurs. They don't exist. There's no fucking realistic.
You're not real, man.
Just wait for the Gritty reboot in 10 years, then we'll get that.
Yeah. Let's call it here.
Oh, you're not gonna let TC
Wow,
talk?
okay,
Oh, sorry,
TC.
TC. I'm
I
sorry. I'm
guess
sorry. I'm
TC
sorry. I'm
just
sorry. The
saying
generational. Hang on.
Poor guy had to watch
See how
the
he
movie.
gets-
You better get his
see how he
take.
gets-
Hang on, TC. Hang on, TC.
A man can only admit when he was wrong and ask forgiveness.
My bad, baby.
He did that shit to me like 4 times last week.
It was on purpose.
problem,
This was
no
an
problem.
accident.
I just have a question for you. Actually, I didn't think it was that bad, but
How dare you?
did you watch the extended cut? And
12
watch
minutes.
Extended cut?
12 minutes
the-
longer.
The extended cut.
Wait, whoa. What's in the extended cut? Is it more Bryce Dallas Howard?
No, unfortunately not. But the extended cut, the opening
know.
scene is dramatically different than the
What?
opening scene of the regular cut. So I don't want to spoil it for you,
shit.
but it sets up the end.
What?
Wait. It's very interesting. Do you want me to tell you what happens, or do you want to see for
Well,
yourself?
hang on.
It's an extra 12 minutes and 6 seconds of footage.
Is it 12 minutes at the beginning or 12 minutes sprinkled throughout?
It's sprinkled throughout. There's like an extra 4 minutes at the beginning, and then there's a couple extra scenes throughout the movie. But
Well, tell me what happens in the beginning.
so
I'm
the beginning
curious.
is like a bunch of shots with different dinosaurs, and they're in the wild.
Yeah.
But then it's the Giganosaurus versus T-Rex round 1.
Oh, I have seen that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then the T-Rex loses,
Yeah.
and it sets up the middle battle, that kind of scruff that they had, and then
Yeah.
at the end, it has the other one.
Well, it's
And then
also I want to say that you get the amber from that, right? Like the bug. I don't think I watched that today, but I have seen that before.
And then also in the middle, like when they're at the underground ring, that negotiation with the dude and the pilot, she's like 2,000, or he says 2,000, then she goes to 8,000. That's not in the regular cut. The negotiation's not there, and then also you don't see the fight between. You don't see the cockfight basically, with the little dinosaur versus the chicken dinosaur.
I love cocks.
So there's a couple interesting things, but
Jesus, clip
I don't
that.
know. I rank this one like I'd say 1, 3, 4, 6, 5, 2.
Wow, 2.
Wait, 2 is that low? How dare you? I should have cut you off earlier. How dare you, TC? Wait, time out. Say that again. Say that again.
1, 3, 4.
Hang on. Which okay. Okay, 4. Okay.
6, 5, 2.
You motherfucker.
Yeah, what the fuck?
What?
Swap 3 and 2, and we're.
I would go.
No.
1,
6,
2,
swap 5. Wait.
Hang on. Everyone give
4 and 2. Swap 4 and 2, and you're good.
I'm going 1, 2, 4, 3, 6, 5.
Mine's really easy.
1, 3, 6, 2. Wait. Okay, never mind. Come back to me. Too many numbers. I went to public
Mine's
school.
easy. Mine's 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, I can see that. Ben, what about you?
It would be for me 1, 3, 4, 2, 5, and 6.
I respect that list. I can't respect TC's. I'm sorry. Marco,
did I lose my points?
No. You're
okay.
good.
Cool. Let's see. Did I get them all here? 1, 4, 2, 5, 3.
You missed
Did I miss one here?
6.
Oh, it's 6. Oh, sorry. Swap 6 and 5. Swap 6 and 5. I can't
That's
do
too much math.
Numbers.
I had to look up what all the movies were. I didn't even realize there'd been that many. Honestly,
yeah, there's 3 OGs and 3 new.
And we need an Alan Grant figure. What is this?
Oh man,
we almost had one by Chronicle, but then they folded.
We need to ask Inart.
Dude,
I don't want to spend $500 on that.
The new Harrison Ford one is close. Swap that.
Wow, it is close, huh?
What did you say?
The new Indiana Jones figure. It's close.
Jesus
He's a
Christ.
dinosaur. F. Wellington says, "Here's my ranking. They're all the same. How dare you?"
How fucking dare you? Someone ban him, please.
God.
Let's Marco, do you mind to read these for me again this week?
Yeah, so I think Ben did it last week, and he kind of
whoever did great.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Ian Seabee, Renee Mendez, Eric Mariscal, Quinn Aguirre, King Louie, Mark Pearson, Paul Schreiber, Equan, Chris Valencerina, Ben Thomas, Chris Letty, David Jones, Sam Giss, Daminator, Joao Breda, Thomas Clark, Eric Switzer, Six Guns Figs, Badfish, Toy Cartel, Danny Lee, Deanie Martin, Stephen Krett, Big Fern, Caesar Mariquin, Mark Phillips, Lisa Martin Bomansky, Rick D. DeGrorio, Ricardo Valdez, Jose CZ, Erwin Asusina, the Illustrious Rainer, Alid Morgan, Tukathri, Wah, Darks, that one I don't have.
Derek B.
Aries Portillo. Derek B, there you go. Aries Portillo, Alvin J, Jazz Carroll, Joe Ridley, Pablo Mesa, D-Rock, Matt Clevenger, Seth Tucker, CC3PO, Scott Smith, Dalmathon, Stephen Percha, Sean Usby, Scott Bradley, Stephen Maria Stanley, Eddie Manzanares, Louis Bennett, Chip Perrin, Jimmy Hernandez, Gigi the Judgmental, and Ben, take it away.
Brendan Palmer!
Nice.
Wow, that was
solid.
My old folk neighbors are probably like, what the fuck is going on?
They're like, there's all this moaning and yelling from his apartment. What is going on? The July-August Patreon benefits, the ZW sticker and the Small Talk new logo sticker. You guys, if you're receiving the Patreon mail, you would have gotten the ZW already. I was a little late sending the May-June, so I tossed in the July-August first half. Patreon, how dare you? Patreon starts, I've been battling this damn COVID-54 for, it seems like forever. I don't know what it is, but kicking my ass. Patreon starts at $5 for the digital hot seat, $7.50 for the stickers, $15 for the certified crispy certificate, and $25 for the Pog Deluxe set. We're actually at our last Pog set. We need to order another set, and so we're kind of taking suggestions for that. So we'll work on like a rough draft for you guys. Channel members, we have Absolute Irwin, Alvin J, Andres IB, Andrew Gibo, Benjamin Hansen, Big Ol' Fern, Blurred Dad Life, Bob Dylan, CC3PO, Chris V, Cram, CT603, DJ, Daminator, Dante's Boneyard, Eclectic Collector, Equan, Fat Batman, Gare Bear, Gotham Cenobites, Jake, Just Another Friday Night, Justin Sports Cards Museums, KJ Smith, LV Avenger 702, Mark Pearson, Eddie Money Mendez, Mr. Mom's Collectibles, Knight, OG Fan, OMFG Rick, 16 Focus, Paul Schreiber, Philip the Fool, S Beam, Sambia, Slifer, SpongeBob SquareBall, Sunnyvale Russ, The Ben Thomas Show, Toy Cartel, and Zeke. You can become a channel member for 99 cents if you are already a Patreon member, or $2.99 if you're not. Friendly reminder for the Carnage giveaway. Our bonus code today was Dean. We also have TeePublic. I believe it's on sale right now. We got a lot of shirts on there if you guys want to support the network, get some swag. We've seen some people wanting workout shirts, and the Heather shirts are real nice and flowy for working out.
Workout shirts.
Yeah.
We need a workout. We need some kind of gym logo.
Ooh, I like that. Like Gold's Gym, but it's
like C3PO, but lifting.
C3PO?
Yeah, like a working out C3PO.
You want a shirt with CC on it?
I would rather like Hulk or something like that.
Wait, what? Oh, C3PO.
When I think of icons from the culture that we follow, I don't think of C3PO working out. That's for sure.
Well, it depends if Disney makes a retro-styled C3 like they did with that R2. It might have a hulking buff C3PO droid.
There we go.
Looking at the network, we have live unboxing Mondays, question of the week on Sundays, small talk Thursdays. I believe they're this Thursday. Alternating with OFAC, After Dark tomorrow at 10:30, Live and Let Dice. We're recording Friday unlisted, and then we're streaming it Saturday. We also have Bricks and Brew and Oxpd. Just trying to balance. I feel like we're kind of limping a little bit on the, with being sick and Dean being out, and just, it's just been kind of a rough few weeks. So bear with us. We'll be back to 100% soon, but we appreciate Eddie and Marco and Ben and TC stepping up and helping us still put on a show. Be sure to check out Eddie on Made Media, his YouTube channel, and TC as well on the 6 Scale Scavengers Collectors. TC, tell us what we got going on the Return of the Scavengers Collectors.
Yeah, so we tend
Return of
to...
the Scavengers.
Yeah, Return of the Scavengers. We're back to the 6 Scale Scavengers. So we're just going to try and record every couple weeks. It's the last time it's been every 3 weeks, but that's just because of summer thing with vacations. But every other week we'll go live, likely on a Wednesday or Thursday, 8 to 9 or 9 to 10 in that range. And we're going live tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to hear more of me, as well as Chris Letty and the Podfather Brian Fontaine, join us. Look forward to it.
I gotta say, I'm so damn excited y'all are back. TC, I remember during the pandemic, you left the show. It was an emotional moment for everyone that was, watching along with all of you. And so it's pretty cool to be able to stream with you and that y'all are back. So it's great service for the community.
It was sad, but I think, I think I'm just more well-rounded. I'm not as, I think hyper-focused. Some people can do it. Tend to be a little bit, I like other things besides figures. I try and keep myself a little more well-balanced, because I could really get into the weeds with this stuff, and I just try to.
So can Ben.
I don't know. I think I just have to step back sometimes, but we're looking forward to it, and hopefully we can do a collab in the future. More to come on that.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nice job. Good to have you back, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for
Zach's
having me.
going on his
Appreciate it.
5th sentence right now when he's on mute.
Yeah.
You hate to see it.
Oh, I have 2 ways to mute, and so I was muted in one of those 2 ways. But
3 ways. I was just kidding.
Never mind. It was a terrible Mexican.
No, I was saying, we've been wanting to do a collab for quite a while, so it'd be good to finally get that going.
I'm excited to see him back too. I think 6 scale scavengers got me through 2019, like exercise and listening to podcasts, and so 2019 and the very beginning of 2020, I think. So it'll be fun.
Nice.
I can't listen to podcasts and exercise. And just get too into that, and then I don't
can
feel
on cardio.
motivated to lift. Cardio, like walking.
Only
on
on
cardio
is music, but
lifting for
cardio,
sure.
yeah.
What do you do, Ben? Car, or
Like music-wise, or
no? Like, how do you listen to podcasts?
Oh yeah, but I do a lot of driving for work. So
yeah.
I do estimating for a paint company. So I'm oftentimes between sites. So even from where I live, my site this morning was 40 minutes. So like I queue up whatever's up. That's how I got to know Collecting Weekly guys long before I was ever on the show. Was listening to these guys, and I heard them from Six Scale Scavengers. Like that was kind of the tie-in, and I always thought Dean's voice was really drawing. He's just got that voice, like it's the voice we all miss today. Like it's he always drew me in, and then
I'm sure some people like Zach out there. There's someone.
Yeah, we call those people civilized.
Oh. I always like the
upper
back and
echelon.
forth between Zach and Dean, though, too, right? Because like when they get going at each other a little bit, it's funny. So, but yeah, but in the car all the time.
He's all right.
Everywhere I go.
Anyone have any shout outs? Anything they want to plug that there's going on in their channels? Anybody?
Definitely shout out to the chat. Sorry we missed all the messages over the last 45 minutes. As I said, for some reason it wasn't popping through on our live StreamYard. But we also love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. If you guys are listening to the stream after on Spotify or wherever it's posted, leave us your comments. If you guys have takes on certain topics that we're talking about, it's fun to hear from you guys. That's one of my favorite parts of having my own channel. Is giving my take on Star Trek figure today, and then hearing what you guys think. So let us know, and we always read them, and we get a kick out of it. So
I will write back to every comment that you guys leave.
There you go. Hold them to it.
Only the good ones.
Challenge.
Yeah. Just kidding. Nick's Collectibles. Sorry, real quick. Says you guys are the goats. Thanks, Nick. You almost a shout out to the pairs.
And then last shout out to Let's Get Nuts this past Sunday. We had a great panel of people again, and I think the show got a little suppressed for some reason this week. It's not getting as many views, or is the algorithm just didn't hit. Wow. So if you guys have missed this last Sunday,
there was a lot of dirtiness on the last one, so maybe that was
there was a lot of we got suppressed. A lot of nuts. If you guys missed Let's Get Nuts on Sunday this past week, go tune in. It was a fun show with the boys over there as well. So.
This weekend we got San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm gonna be seeing Marco and a lot of CW people, Danny and Fern, and I'm sure there's CC3PO. We're gonna see a lot of people, so I don't know that I'll go live on my channel or on Instagram, but I'm sure some people will, and so keep an eye open on all the different channels, because we're all gonna be hanging out. I'm sure there's gonna be posts, and so it'll be pretty fun.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that Sideshow will not be there, but I'm sure that, we'll get our hands on some type of, collectibles throughout the entire show.
Hell yeah. Shout out to the chat for sticking with us. I know it's been kind of a rough few weeks, but the show must go on, and we will, how dare you, Rob Barnes? Which one is Zach? The show must go on, and, rain or shine, we'll try to be here for you guys. But anyways, let's end it here. I'm Zach.
I'm Marco.
Shit, I was mute. You hate to see it. I
saw your
said it on time. I said it
mute now.
I'm Ben.
Stay off the weed.
I'm Eddie.
And I'm TC.
We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Later.
Jumbo babies.